I'm Don. It's late. I'm up. Hi. Sorry about that rushed introduction. As per usual, this part up front is only for the people who watch the replay, anyways. But I wanted to get on a few minutes before 11 Central Time, so I would be on a few minutes before 12 Eastern Time. So therefore, this would still fall under the auspice of Tuesday. I have my lawyers working on that all day. So as long as I went live before Wednesday actually rolled around in any of the American time zones, I'm all good. So anyways, the reason it was important that this was on Tuesday is, be ready to have your damn mind blown, all right? The first batch of movies, the first movie we did for this batch of live streams that I've been doing, these watch-alongs, the first one ended at 2:22 on February 22nd, right? So the next night we went to Roadhouse and we watched The Double Deuce, right? So now, with this being the last Tuesday in Black History Month, it seemed like we should do a two-pack of Tupac movies. Huh? Look at this. Podcast listeners, sorry you're missing out. Anyways, I wanted to recognize the folks in the chat who are piling in. Our friend Russell is here. Hey, Russell, how you doing? The Canadian hero himself. Glad to have you, my friend. Anthony says, hey, buddy, how you doing? I'm almost at 1995, and he's got 1.15 subs on his YouTube channel. You are killing it. You're on the road to 2K, world's greatest YouTuber. Yeah, Anthony's been working on his memoirs, so those of you keep your eye out for that. Oh, thank you, Russell. He's this cool tact. Yeah, for as I was saying, for the podcast audience, I showed I have a giant 22 on my shoulder to put a big stamp on this whole Tuesday 2 thing I was working on there. It got some real numerology action jumping off for you folks. But anyways, yeah, like I say now, I thought I would watch a two-pack of Tupac movies for the last Tuesday in Black History Month. And these are my two favorite Tupac movies. I don't know. He has a relatively short acting career. People knew he had a ton of charisma. So he immediately was in, he had a background scene in Nothing But Trouble. And then he kind of was the footage from that movie was then used in the video for Same Song by Digital Underground. So he also ended up being in the background of that video. But he was cast in Juice because of his just natural sort of, I don't know, gangsterish charisma, thug life, as he said. And then he did a couple of TV series, an episode of Drexel's Class, which I have never heard of in my life. And then an episode of Different World, where he played Piccolo. I'm familiar with that role as well. So then he moved back to movies, and he did Poetic Justice with Janet Jackson. I'm not a fan. It's okay, but I think people went a little crazy for it. I wasn't all that big of a big fan of Poetic Justice. I thought it was a bit sappy. It was kind of a road trip movie with a romantic comedy thing added onto it, and not my thing. And then he did Above the Rim, and Above the Rim is just awesome. So we're going to watch Above the Rim first tonight, and then we're going to watch Juice second. I thought we would do it that way, because I wanted to get on earlier than I usually am to qualify for this Tuesday thing. I decided that we would do the less popular of the two, Above the Rim. But Above the Rim is awesome. If you're unfamiliar with it, please hang out and watch it, watch along. I'm going to be watching that one on Tubi, I believe. I'll double check and make sure. I may have it flip-flopped. Yeah, we're going to watch Above the Rim first, and then that'll wrap up around 12:30 to 1, and then we'll watch Juice for my usual later crowd. But I see my man Bones is also having a live stream right now. So if you're not familiar with the Boneyard, I recommend you go over there and check out his stream right now. Mr. Bones, if you can't find him on YouTube, for some reason, Mr. Bones Dollar Tree seems to work because he does a whole Dollar Tree theater thing. So yeah, I recommend going over to Mr. Bones. He was watching, I don't remember what horror movie it was. It was one I don't think I'd ever heard of. He's been on this kick of watching some weird ones that even are way out of my league, which is cool though. I like getting turned on to new stuff. But anyways, back Mr. Shakur. After Above the Rim, he was in the Dr. Dre and Ice Cube Natural Born Killers extended video, and he played the sniper. I was unaware of that. And then, and same with The Murder Was the Case movie. He's the sniper segment. Then he was in a movie called Eyes on Hip Hop, where he played rapper. I'm not familiar with Eyes on Hip Hop. Came out in 1995. But then he did what I consider his direct-to-video Steven Seagal type movies. He does Bullet with, I believe that's Mickey Rourke. And then he did Gridlocked with Tim Roth. And then he did Gang Related with James Belushi, I believe it is. So, yeah. Is that his name, Gang Related? Let's double check. Yeah, I didn't make that up. So, as you can see, his career kind of takes a nosedive towards the end. But you know what they say, die young, leave a beautiful corpse or whatever. Let's see here. Who's here? Anthony says Tupac was almost in Star Wars. That's interesting. I was unaware of that right now. Anthony also says that Instagram is down right now, so he used his computer. I was unaware that Instagram was down. Speaking of down, though, I would like to point out that I live in an area where the country area where the internet can be sketchy when it's bad weather. And today it was like 72 and beautiful out. It was like we were rejoicing because it's Wisconsin in February and it's 72, right? So climate change on full effect, bro. So we were hanging out on the outside and enjoying the nice weather, and we see on the damn weather alerts, extreme weather likely, chance of tornado, hail, etc., because a cold front is going to push in, and tomorrow morning I'm going to wake up to snow. So apparently right now outside, I saw a huge lightning storm, and like it was crazy. I wish I had set my phone out, like a bunch of prime lightning strike footage. But now a cold front is pushing in, and then it's going to start snowing probably in the middle of my juice section of tonight. So if at any point the internet goes out or it freezes or I lock up or any of that jazz, same as usual. StreamYard keeps me running even though I disappear for like a minute or two. So as long as I'm off and back on, I should be here. My laptop has a battery, so theoretically we should be okay. We've been okay in the past, but if electricity goes out, it may get sketch, bro. But other than that, let's get started here. I'm gonna put I don't even have the TV on or anything. That's how fast I wanted to make sure I qualified for my my Tuesday benefits here. Let's turn on. All right. Yeah, I believe I found one of these on Max and one on Tubi. The question is, which is which? Let's find out. Do you guys use Fire Stick or Roku, or like do you have a smart TV? What's your deal? How do you access these apps through a television, or do you watch everything on your phone and your laptop? Please comment below on that. I'd love to know how people watch stuff. If for nothing else, then I know how to present stuff. All right, come on, load up Fire TV. I brought a drink there. Okay, good. They're loading up. I don't know if you're a fan of Tupac's music or not. Yeah, I liked him and Biggie probably about equally. I liked Tupac way more at the time, but Biggie grew on me later on as I went back and reviewed his catalog. Tupac got caught up in the thing where people just took his tracks and put new beats down over them. So there's like seemingly endless Tupac songs because of all the stuff he made, plus all the remixes. You can't keep track of it all. Oh, let's see. To be, yeah. Come on, load up before I get frustrated. All right. I checked the other night. I had kind of planned this Tuesday Tupac double feature thing, and I loaded them up on the queue, but I didn't get Tubi itself loaded up. I first saw both of these movies. I saw both of them in the theater. I owned the soundtrack for both. Both had banging soundtracks. All right, hold on a sec. My stuff. I like that they changed Q to my stuff. It's like, hey, look at your stuff. Above the Rim is on Tubi. All right, good. Oh, and it's going away in like 2 days or something. So yeah, if you haven't seen Above the Rim on Tubi, you've got 2 days to watch it. But I'm sure it'll show up somewhere else. That's the type of thing that would show up on like Freevee or something, I bet. All right, so I'm pressing play right now on Above the Rim on Tubi. There'll be a commercial here, so I got a chance to talk to you fine folks. Just sent you a request on Facebook. I'm assuming that's me. I will check on that immediately. Actually, I haven't I haven't been on Facebook in a minute. I took a break from there, and then the other day I saw that I was accidentally posting Instagram pictures to Facebook, and then folks have been leaving me all sorts of comments and messages on pictures I didn't know that were ending up there. So I'm like, ooh, a couple hundred like comments behind it, catching up with folks on Facebook. We had a rare February thunderstorm, lightning in Toronto today. Yeah, that's us here. It's crazy. Like, I feel bad that so many of my streams talk about me with the weather, but it's been a weird year. Like, we had no snow up until past Christmas. I think our first real snowstorm came in like January. It snowed a little bit on Halloween, to show you how weird it's been. And then where I'm out here in the country, we had real bad ice storms for a while, and the temperature, that polar vortex crap. All right, so here finally Tubi got past my first commercial, and we're starting. Above the Rim is a one I saw in the theater. Not to stop shooting the shit about the weather about you, Russell, but we got more important stuff. We got Tupac. Anthony says there was a tornado in New York City. Yeah, exactly. We're under tornado watch right now. So this stream is actually, they've warned us to keep an eye out and go in a basement. And I'm on the second floor near a window. So this could be a very exciting stream. So be sure to have your video capture system ready. No place like home. So Above the Rim starts out with these two dudes, classic like throwback, right? We're supposed to understand they're in high school. How are we supposed to understand that? They're both wearing varsity jackets while they're playing basketball. It's like, you would take off your jacket to play basketball. Trust me, I've played many times. It's never once occurred to me to wear a leather jacket. The main dude, we can only get half a look at him because they want to make sure we think they're young, so they shoot him in the shadow. I believe the main dude is Leon. Let's double check here, make sure I'm not telling tales out of school. Yeah, Leon. Leon is also famous. He was in the Madonna Like a Prayer, I think it is, video, where he's Black Jesus. Leon's cool because he goes by one name, but it's Leon. You know what I mean? Usually you'd have some sort of like real super flamboyant name to go by one, like Prince or something. But no, Leon is good enough. Y'all know Leon. Leon cool. So these dudes are outside in this flashback scene, and they're playing basketball on top of a building in New York, because in New York, people are always doing stuff on top of buildings. And old buddy jumps up to smack the backboard to prove that he's got hops. And his friend bets him money on it, like that he can't jump like that. So he jumps up and smacks the backboard, but he jumps off one leg. So that he does like a leaping gazelle type jump. And he smacks the backboard and it breaks, and he flies off the roof of a building and just plummets to his death. And his friend spends the rest of his life haunted for feeling like he caused the murder of his friend. Arguably one of the dumbest backstories in the history of movies. But somehow, every time I watch it, I'm like, oh shit, old boy fell off the roof. Let's see here. Yeah, Russell Bones is live, I believe, right now. The Boneyard is up. So I actually encourage you guys to go over there, find Mr. Bones on here. If you don't follow him, subscribe. Mr. Bones is good people. Put Night Owl sent me in the comments. That would be awesome. Or if you're watching this later and you feel like going and checking out a Mr. Bones stream, go ahead and put Night Owl sent me in the comments or the chat over there. I didn't even see who he has on. He usually has other fellows from this community on. I wouldn't be surprised if Mayann's floating around over there and some of the other folks. So yeah, make sure you go over there and say hi to our people. If I didn't have to get on before midnight, I would have for sure been over there. That's a good place you could usually find me. Like I said, I own the soundtrack to this movie as well. The soundtrack was jumping, Tupac. And it's got like a kind of an R&B soundtrack, but this also had, I believe Pain, I think it is, where they use the track from Star Trek 5, I think it is, where the guy's like, your pain, it runs deep, share it with me. And like, yeah, that was the hook to start all hooks, man, in the beginning, like voice sample. So here we see Dwayne Martin. He was like kind of popular in the 90s, but he really doesn't have much of a lasting career. Folks don't talk much about Dwayne Martin. But But Dwayne Martin's the star of the movie, and he gets into a fight with this white-looking boy that they call white-looking. Well, he's a white boy, but he looks like Eric Montross, this old Celtics North Carolina player who like had a tall white dude with a flat top. So the complete antithesis to the type of folks in this movie. So Montross, as his name is, he's played by Eric Nies, who was like this. He was on the first season of The Real World, which was like one of the first reality shows ever. Like it basically laid the template for the next like 40 years of TV. But this dude, Eric Nies, his father was an NBA referee. So he was like this super interesting guy they did all these biographies about, and he hosted The Grind on MTV, like a dance show, and he put out like workout videos and stuff. He was just like a strange pop culture character for, I don't know, white people, I guess. But yeah, here he's the dude getting destroyed, having his ankles broke by Dwayne Martin. And it's basically the same plot as White Men Can't Jump. Like he doesn't know how to pass the ball. He's too selfish, and it causes his team to lose. So he's kind of the Wesley Snipes guy. And yet Montross passes the ball at the end, and they win because he's less selfish. So see, there's a character arc that we're growing towards here. Let's see. Just finished watching Lisa Frankenstein. It was awesome. I heard that's good. I need to watch that. Where's that playing at? Do you know Canadian doctor invented basketball in 1939? Yeah, exactly. James Naismith. I tried a lot of sports when I was a kid, and I sucked at all of them. But basketball, I was pretty good at, and then luckily I got tall, so that helped a lot. But for a while there, basketball was like my main thing. There's some basketball stuff on my channel, top 5 NBA movies or top 5 high school basketball movies. That's one of the only videos, the basketball one's one of the only videos where I have no facial hair. I shaved it bald for that episode. Oh, let's see. My favorite is Pain, Tupac. Yeah, Tupac's, I don't know. Be sure to put in the comments or in the chat what your favorite Tupac song is. I don't know, that whole All Eyes on Me CD, that came out, that double disc came out when I was in college. So that thing is like the soundtrack to my early 20s. But yeah, that's why I wanted to put Above the Rim first, because I had a feeling there was going to be a lot of basketball talk in this first one here. And that's, unfortunately, there's a weird, yeah, exactly. The other team wins because the point guard of the other team passes the ball, but our star loses because he's selfish. Here's Pac, comes into the high school. He scouts the high school kids, and he's trying to stack up his Birdmen team that we learn about later. But anyways, like I said, there's going to be a lot of sports talk in this, and there's not much. The movie sports fan crossover is real weird. Like most sports fans like movies, but people who love movies generally don't like sports. It's weird. So when I talk about sports to my movie friends, they could care less. But when I talk about movies to my sports friends, they always are in on whatever's going on. It's weird. But this is a sports movie through and through, as well as it's got a little bit of a New York urban hip hop thing, but there's a lot going on with it. Tupac basically plays like the coolest, toughest young gangster around, and it kind of sets the template for his persona for the next however long. Let's see here. Couldn't find Bones. There's like 3 Bones channels. Yeah, that's what I said. You got to kind of look for Bones Dollar Tree, Mr. Bones Dollar Tree, I should say. I think he's called Mr. Bones HPS is his official name, like Horror Peep Show, but he doesn't really use that name as much anymore. But yeah, Bones is good people. Like I said, if I wasn't here doing this, I would be there. So feel free to stop in and say hi to Mr. Bones and anybody else over there. Tell him Night Owl misses him. So now Leon, the dude from the beginning, has he's now the security guard at the school. And nobody knows who he is, and like he's just the old broken down old man, which is ridiculous because he's probably like 35 or something. But yeah, this school needs massive security. They have like 3 dudes already for just the basketball game entrance, so they know that this is a troubled school. Yeah, if I saw this in the theater at a time when it was right before I was getting ready to go to play college basketball. So everything basketball for me at that point. Like it's like my favorite sport. I would go to all the Bucks games I could get to. I would watch as much any level I could, high school, college, whatever. So when this movie came out, it was like I'll be there opening weekend. You'll find me, especially the whole thing with the good soundtrack and everything. But yeah, his teammates are now trying to fight with him and beat him up because he never passes the ball. And then later on, of course, his character arc is that he learns to pass the ball. So yeah, there's growth. What are you going to do? There's good writing here. Let's see what this is rated or how it's been ranked. It's an average of 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb. That's not too bad actually. Um, I gave it a 7 out of 10. But like I say, it's a personal favorite more than it is actually a good movie. And then Rotten Tomatoes, oof, brutal. Let's look here. 52% critics, so that's a bad movie, a splat. But audience scores 82%, a classic Rotten Tomatoes divide, where the audience always likes stuff, especially like not real thinky or well written movies, just sort of visually entertaining, or you know what I mean. Like if it's just sort of as we've been doing with these other movies, if it's a comfort food movie, um, it the audience always loves it, but the critics don't like it because there's no substance there. So, as I pointed out a minute ago, I've been doing what I've been calling comfort food movies on my channel for this batch. Stuff that just no matter what, I've seen it so many times and I always appreciate it. And I can just put it on the background. And no matter what point I jump in, or if it's on TV, no matter what point I jump in, it's just like comforting to me. So, yeah, this double feature of Tupac. This is a pint of ice cream, is what this one is. So here Marlon Wayans is on screen. Ugh, I'm not a fan. Like from day one, I've always just kind of found Marlon Wayans like he chews up the scenery too much. I like the original Wayans. I like Keenan Ivory and Damon Wayans. I found them to be talented and funny and interesting. But the younger set of Wayans, the Sean and Marlon and them, I never liked their stuff. I never liked any of the. I think Scary Movie 1 is okay, but even then, I saw it in the theater and everybody around me was just loving it, and I hated it. Like I didn't like it at all. But like you give me, I'm gonna get you, sucker, or some of the scenes that um, Keenan Ivory Wayans is in Hollywood Shuffle. Like, oh, that's just fantastic. But yeah, the Marlon Wayans in general, The Sixth Man, and I don't know. I try to ignore the movies he's in. He's the worst part of Requiem for a Dream. I mean, other than the fact that it's an entire nightmare. But other than that, yeah, I'm not a fan. Let's see here. Ooh, Sean says, "Ooh, a double dose tonight." I haven't seen both of these in a long time. Yeah, I'm watching Above the Rim on Tubi, and then Juice is on Max. Uh, so right now I'm at 12:53 in on Above the Rim. Like I was saying, this is the last Tuesday in Black History Month, so I had to have a 2-pack of Tupac. So I had to go on a little bit early tonight to make sure it was officially on Tuesday. But thank you for joining me, Sean. I'm glad to see you, buddy. Sean is actually, when I thought of people who might enjoy this stream, Sean was one of them. I was like, I think this is going to be one of my least watched streams ever. Because although the double features do good because people like the long content, especially the folks who use this like a podcast, it's uh, me rambling for a long time allows them to clean their garage or whatever. So um, I also felt like though that this content is going to be way off from my usual like horror content, and I'm into sci-fi and fantasy too. But one of my secret passions in crime or in movies is crime dramas. So I think this kind of falls into a weird sort of, I don't know, a hip hop movie / crime drama. But yeah, for me, the basketball is cool. And it's like a little mini episode of The Wire in certain parts. Like right now where Tupac has Dwayne Martin up in the club and he's introducing him to women. And we kind of see that Tupac has it like that, where he can just snap his fingers and a woman will come over and start kissing on you. So, yeah, I'm a fan of these type of movies, these like young person crime dramas. I think Juice is kind of in the same vein, except a little bit more. Juice has way more with the music, obviously, instead of the basketball, but Juice has a whole other like themes about how guns are like power and all this stuff. We'll talk about it when Juice gets around. But this, on the other hand, has very little underlying theme. This is just totally like low-level crime boss movie mixed with the street basketball. Juice mixed with White Men Can't Jump or something. I don't know. But the production value on a lot of these scenes are real janky. Like here, this is just, you can tell, filmed in just an open banquet hall room, and they put up some curtains and some red lights. Now it's a nightclub. Dwayne Martin is an interesting lead. Like, I'm not sure about his likability. Like, we've talked about that before, how some people look villainous or some people look friendly and nice. I don't know. I never really found him that charismatic. I can't remember was it Living Single, and then was he maybe like on Martin as a friend or something? I can't remember what Dwayne Martin's overall career was. Let's get to the bottom of it. Oh, Dwayne Martin, what's your history? Oh, he's currently on Bel Air. I should have known that. He has 46 acting credits, which is that's not bad. He was in White Men Can't Jump. He was in Above the Rim, The Inkwell. He starred in Boys to Men, I'll Make Love to You video. He was on an episode of The Fresh Prince, 2 episodes of The Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Yes, he was on Living Single. So I couldn't remember what show it was. Yeah, he played Ty on Living Single. He was in Down Periscope, Fake a Defunk. He was in Scream 2. He was in Woo. How many of y'all remember Woo? Yeah, I barely remember Woo. I think that was Halle Berry. The Faculty, he played Officer Number 1. So good for him. Any Given Sunday, he played Willie's agent. I didn't even remember that role. He was on Girl's Friend. And other than that, Deliver Us from Eva. Oof, yeah, these are getting all just TV at this point. Paul Reiser Show, The New Odd Couple. And yeah, he's currently on Bel Air. So I miss you, Dwayne Martin. Best of luck to you. Here we see Leon, who is traumatically scarred from his friend dying from being the stupidest person on earth. And instead of just accepting his friend was massively stupid and he was going to die one way or another, and it has nothing to do with him, he's now just traumatized, and he plays in the park alone, and he won't play with a ball because it's too real for him. So instead, he just stands outside mimicking basketball by himself because that's much more mentally healthy for him. But like I say, it's part of his character arc. He has to grow a commercial. Anyways, he has to grow into being less crazy. Like, he's a loner. He learns to love. I think he starts dating Dwayne Martin's mom. He goes from being shut off and reclusive to learning to love again. And he learns to dominate on the basketball court. He killing everybody at the end in like a pair of corduroys and a Henley. It's ridiculous. Yeah, we're on a commercial right now for Instacart. Ooh, and for the McDonald's chili sauce. Have you guys tried the McDonald's chili sauce for the nuggets or whatever? I usually don't like spicy things, but I don't know. Maybe it would be good. They have this jump-in anime commercial for it. Today, I stopped at McDonald's because you get free fries once a week in my app. And I had my nuggets and fries, and when they have McDonald's like everywhere, it looks like Wario took over the place. Like it's all upside down and crooked. They did that like 2 months ago. They had some sort of some guy I never heard of, Kerwin Frost or whatever, and they had the adult Happy Meal, and everything got all like crazy hip hoppy in there. It was weird. Yeah, we're still on commercials here. This one's weird, or I keep using the word weird, but it's just a weird occasion, isn't it? Normally with these Tubi movies, they hit you with like a minute commercial up front, and then they hit you with short commercials after that. This one hit me with the short commercial up front, and then they hit me with the long commercial after I've been watching for like 20 minutes. Let's see where I'm at when we come back for the commercial. Yeah. I don't know how I feel about the influx of commercials coming back into movies these days. We all got spoiled by not having them. Like my whole life, we had them unless you watched them on physical media. And now they push this thing where it's like pretty much everybody's going to have to deal with commercials unless you want to pay us a extended premium to not. So, oh, hey, boner pills. Shout out to Matt, Pugwall316. Sorry, Matt. My friend Matt is, we frequently have the joke that our show is sponsored by Dick Pills. So, yeah, this movie apparently is sponsored by Dick Pills. Or does that speak to who they know is watching Above the Rim on Tubi? We've done our market demographics, and dudes in their erectile dysfunction age are watching this movie. So I'm at the 1743 mark as we come back from the commercial. And Dwayne Martin is listening in his bed, listening to Snoop Dogg, and the lyrics are playing on, or the lyrics are in the captions, and it's mildly hilarious. Word to my granny and my daddy and my mother, whether standing on the corner or bouncing in the six deuce. When I was locked up, I couldn't wait to get loose. Like, it's just there. It looks ridiculous. But there, they put the N-word in the captions. And the other night when I was watching American Werewolf in London, they took the F word for gay and they blocked it out. They put dots or dashes, they left it blank like Wheel of Fortune. So yeah, you could see what word it was with the F and the T, but the letters in the middle look like hangman. So that's interesting what words they're editing and which words they're not. But I suppose that also has to do when they transcribed. Well, no, because American Werewolf in London would have had its captions transcribed probably before Above the Rim. Priorities. How high can you go, Nutso? There he is, Mr. Bones. Hey, Bones, I was just shouting out your chat earlier as I started. I went through this whole big, long numerology thing I explained where I had to watch this on Tuesday. It's the last Tuesday on Black History Month. So I had to watch Tupac on a 2-pack of Tupac on Tuesday. So I had to start 5 minutes before Eastern time. So I saw that you were still on, and I was like, I told people at the front, go over there, let them know Night Owl sent you, and then come back here later. This double feature is Above the Rim first and Juice second to accommodate the folks who usually come in past midnight. I wanted them to watch Juice with me instead. Above the Rim is just crazy. But yeah, I'm glad you dropped by. And of course, Mr. Bones knows how high can you go, Nutso. And the beautiful Mayanne, the queen of our horror hearts, is here. Hey. Yeah, Russell told us, and he just got done and told him to move. Yeah, and I just got done and told him to move the party over here. Awesome. Well, thank you. Yeah, I sent Russell over there. He was having trouble finding you, and I told him the Mr. Bones Dollar Tree trick. So hopefully that worked for him. Lamonia Demonia, fan favorite. How are you, miss? Glad to see you here. Hello. Mayanne is welcoming me and Sean. Yeah, Sean is here. Oh, yeah, look at everybody pouring in at 11:30 all of a sudden. Above the Rim, in my opinion, is probably the lesser of the two of these movies. Juice is pretty damn good. Like, I figure we're all going to enjoy Juice. And if you haven't seen Juice before, you'll dig it. This, I can't promise you would dig it. Like, I like it. And, like, as you can see, my man Bones likes it. But it's the type of thing where it's an acquired taste. Like you kind of have to enjoy basketball. You kind of have to enjoy 90s hip hop. You have to be able to tolerate Marlon Wayans, which is asking a lot. But Tupac is just so damn cool in it. And then the soundtrack is jumping. And I don't know. I always dig these New York movies because I've lived in cityscape my whole life, but not this type of cityscape where you have to play basketball on the roof of a building. But for those of you just joining us, we've been discussing the likability of Dwayne Martin and the use of Your Pain, It Runs Deep, Share It With Me on Tupac's Pain track. So yeah, you guys you've missed a lot. Ann says to hit the like button. She comes in bossing people in right around. Thank you, Sheriff. I appreciate it. You rule. Then they come from the Bones channel because I gave you a shout out. Thank you, Russell. I appreciate it, man. You're awesome. Above the Rim is your favorite Pac movie. Really? That's an interesting take. I think Juice is my favorite. Above the Rim is second. And then it might be Gridlocked. Is that the one with Tim Curry? Or Tim Curry, with Tim Roth. The one with Jim Belushi, not so much. Oh, goodness. I got composer. Where is director? No, actor. Sorry. Gang Related is the Jim Belushi one. That's one I always forget of. Yeah, Gridlocked is Tim Roth, and then Bullet is with Mickey Rourke. As I was saying earlier, the back half of Tupac's catalog is some real direct-to-video stuff. I'm not totally a fan, at least compared to the earlier stuff where it's Above the Rim, Poetic Justice, and Juice. But I also was pointing out earlier, I'm not a fan of Poetic Justice that much. I find it to be kind of sappy and lame. Here's Bernie Mac playing the old broke down bum, and they kind of clown on him a little bit. And it's kind of to show that they're young jerks. Like they don't know how to be respectful to this dude. And he even says, like, you know, like you need to know who I am and all this. And it's easy it also tells the tale of basketball where all these dudes at one point or another thought they were going to be like some NBA star and they just end up as like a homeless dude. Yeah, Bernie Casey just killing it. He's chewing up the scenery so much. Even Marlon Wayans has to like just stand back and just let it happen. Let's see here. Bone says, "Shit, I love Marlon Wayans." Yeah, no, I can't do him. He's just too much for me. I don't know, and that's a lot. I'm an obnoxious person myself. Yeah, man, I am watching it on Tubi. I am currently at the 23:55 mark. Yeah, Dwayne Martin, he must have been like a celebrity hooper because he was always on like the NBA celebrity games they'd have, and he would turn up on those MTV Rock and Jock games where they would have like basketball players and celebrities. But this movie is one of the first movies looking at the way they handle the ball and stuff. That's like those And One mixtapes that got real popular and like the, I don't know, probably late 90s, early thousands. And we learned about all these street ballers and all their crazy nicknames. And they basically travel and carry every damn time. If you really officiated the game properly, the And One guys cannot play. But certain dudes like Kyrie Irving broke through. So yeah, as I said, I apologize right away. There's going to be a lot of basketball talk during this one. There'll be more gangster rap and crime drama talk during Juice. But Echo Zero says, "What's up? Thank you for coming, Echo. How you doing, buddy? Glad to see you." Man says the Pacific Northwest Clown is here. Ooh, I water. Yeah, Russell says In Living Color. Yeah, that was the more so the original old school Wayans that I liked. In that one, Sean Wayans was SW1. He was the DJ for the show. Bullet's your second fave, Bones? Wow, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to remember which one's Bullet. That's the one with Mickey Rourke. Isn't there one? That's the one about the undercover cops. That's Gridlocked, right? See, that's the problem. The back half of Tupac's catalog, they were stuff that weren't really played in big screens and they just showed up on VHS at Blockbuster and you're like, Tupac's got a new movie out? as where before Tupac was like, you could sell the movie on Tupac alone. Um, Russell says he loved Jim Belushi in The Principal. Strangely, I've seen The Principal like 10 times. That's another weird comfort food movie. What's his name? Morgan Freeman did Lean on Me, the Joe Clark story about this principal that cleaned up this rough school. And I don't know, there's a bunch of backlash to him later on or whatever. But that movie got nominated for a bunch and the soundtrack was, all over the place. So after that, there was a bunch of Lean on Me knockoffs that came out. And probably the best Lean on Me knockoff was The Principal with James Belushi. So yeah, I feel you on that one. I've seen that one a bunch. Wait, scratch that. Poetic Justice is his favorite Pac movie. Then Above the Rim, then Bullet. Yeah, I don't know. I don't dig Poetic. I think you're just trying to hassle me and go against me, Bones. I'll take it. No, I dig. I dig almost all the Tupac movies just because he's so charismatic. But I feel like compared to this and Juice is really good. But he ends up, the direct-to-video stuff. He just loses his budget, and that really does affect anybody's ability to make the best possible movie, which sucks. So here we see the old coach trying to recruit Leon to be on his all-city Birdman contest, the Big Three shootout or whatever it's called. Sometimes I'll see people wearing the shootout tank top, the jersey, like from at the end, and it catches my eye every time. And they know, like, oh, you get it. Let's see here. Not a fan of his music. I'm an old school rocker. You didn't like Tupac, huh? Yeah, I could understand that. A lot of folks who were more into classic, like 80s rock, and they were more into like they either transitioned into the grunge music or they just quit listening at all. But yeah, people in the 70s and 80s, a lot of them didn't dig the 90s rap. That was in my teen and early 20 years. It was kind of mandatory. I had to. Ted Levine is in Bullet. Oh, okay. Yeah, I do remember that. My favorite movie, like Principal, is Dangerous Minds. Yeah, that's another one that's in there. Also, Edward James Olmos did Jaime Escalante, Stand and Deliver. And that was another like one that got a whole bunch of critical praise. And that's where Edward James Olmos really got famous from. My favorite is, what's it called? 187. Is that the one with Method Man? Or is it, what's the one with Method Man in high school and the kids are bad? 8 viewers, 3 likes. Make those numbers match, folks. Oh yeah, thank you, guys. I appreciate that. How do I reach these kids? Exactly. Isn't that from South Park? I think, yeah. I think Cartman was Jaime Escalante actually, in that he had like the same look and everything. It just became a genre of film, like the inspirational teacher movie. And they're good because they're super low budget. All you have to do is rent a school out, and schools are whores. They will let you use anything, their pool, their gym, whatever. So yeah, you can probably rent a school out pretty damn dirt cheap, especially if you want to shoot during the summer when nobody's around. So as far as production value, making a teacher movie is probably pretty damn easy. Way easier than like having a helicopter fight over the Grand Canyon or whatever. 187 is a great film. Mr. Bones says, how high? Yeah, I meant a different movie with Method Man or with Redman or Method Man in School. Damn it. Now you got me all flustered, Bones, thinking about how high. And he said, see, Russell's high. He knows he's age. Yeah, I think it was 187 is the one I'm thinking of, that where Method Man is the bad high school. Or is it the print? Oh, God damn it. The Substitute? No, The Substitute's a different one. What's the one with Tom Berenger? Now they're all a blur, damn it. They made too many of them. How do I reach these kids? Higher learning? I don't know. That's a good point, Bones. That's another one. I think it's let's just go ahead and look up Method Man's IMDb. We'll find out right now. My gosh, we'll get to the bottom of this. I think it's 187, but Damn, Method Man works a lot. 131 credits. Damn, Method Man, you work. I wasn't expecting that. I would have thought he would have been under 50. That's awesome. He works his butt off. He's been on all the TV shows too. Damn. Oh, they also have music videos on here. That's why. Never mind. I was false flagging on his credit. Method Man was in Copland 187. Yeah, 187 is the one with Samuel L. Jackson as the teacher. I think Tom Berenger was the substitute. I think we're all back on track now here. So back in the movie I'm supposedly watching. Yeah, once again, a high school scene. It's so easy to film. You just put the camera at the end of the hallway and have people mill about like they're students. All the people who were supposed to be high school students there looked like they were all in their 30s. Yeah, now we're just at high school basketball practice. And this is actually it looks right. Like a lot of times in movies, they get the sports wrong, or they shoot stuff weird and have people jump off trampolines and act like folks aren't going to know. Like everybody who dunks in a movie is either dunking on a 7-foot rim or jumping off a trampoline. And it looks awkward because no one dunks with their chest above the rim. But this basketball practice looks about right. They're running the weave. They're throwing the ball off the backboard and stuff. It's lame. Hey, the other Russell here, Tex. Lawn Lifters is here. Welcome, Lawn. Nice to see you. Oh, yeah. Okay, there's Patrick to let me know that Samuel L. Jackson was in 187, of course. Yeah, so Russell is here. Yeah, he points out the substitute. Berenger and Treat Williams are in the substitute. See, my own research is useless. I need to just always turn it back over to you guys, and you have it. So folks are welcoming Patrick and Russell here. Bones, yeah, Bones is cracking down on making sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you check out other folks in the chat. We have to do a little bit of business here. Never mind, 11 likes, had to refresh. Yeah, I do that sometimes, Bones, too. I get ready to I'll be watching a friend's chat and the likes won't roll over, and I'll realize later on, like, okay, just had to refresh. But I thank every one of you for your likes and your views and your hanging out with me here. Like I said, this is a weird one. I started a little bit early. Every now and then I do these double features, since both of these are less than I believe they're both right around an hour and a half. I think this one's like 137 and the other one's like 132 or something. So as far as a double feature goes, and it's kind of ridiculous that I've gone all Black History Month and I haven't done any movies with I've done some of the whitest movies ever, So I decided this time we would go through some of my 90s hip hop, dig through some of the old CDs, as it were. I'm entranced by Tupac and Leon in the graveyard having just a acting battle. Leon stoic as ever, God bless him. Kind of dope though. He's got some sideburns working. I like it. Let's see here. Russell says, hey, buddy, glad to have you here. I appreciate it. Bones says, Boglins. And I say, yeah. Yes, glad to have the Boglin crew here, the Midnight Hour Hobbs Horror Collective. I said, like as I was pointing out, the Boneyard was earlier. Bones, what were you watching earlier? It was some movie I don't think I'd ever heard of. It caught me off guard. You guys had me already with Tater City and Tater Burger. So I don't know. I wasn't sure what you'd watch now. And Russell points out, at least I didn't show Soul Man for Black History Month. Yeah. I don't know if I'm embarrassed or proud. I saw Soul Man in the theater. I was a child, obviously, but yeah, it's so funny that movie's just like canceled now. The whole point of the movie is that the guy is supposed to learn why it's wrong, and it's supposed to be like for the people who canceled it didn't kind of get the point of the movie, but it's just so offensive. It's like, we don't care if there's a point to it, just go. Let's see here. Mildew from Planet Xanadu or some shit. I like how you don't even know. Something. Yeah, I was caught off guard by the title. I was looking, I was like, oh, Bones is on. Damn, I don't want to start against Bones. And then I was like, well, he's probably wrapping it up, and I need to get on here for Tuesday for Tupac at Tupac. Um, oh, here's a commercial. Nikki Haley for president. The Republican candidates are always real good about being on here. I rarely see Democratic candidates advertise on the internet, or maybe it's just the algorithm I get, but I don't know why. But this appears to be the long Tubi commercial. I pointed out the start of the movie was the short Tubi commercial, the little like 30-seconder. And then now the second one was a minute one, and this appears to be a minute one. So the spacing of Tubi commercials is the thing I'm always fascinated with. Basketball was invented by a Canadian, and the USA used to teach basketball without a hole. Exactly. We kind of talked about that earlier. It was James Naismith. I actually won something at a basketball camp once, a video, because I knew who invented basketball. He was a dude at a YMCA who and he was like a school or whatever, and he was sick of the kids not having anything to do. So he invented this game where he wanted to throw basically, I think it was a volleyball they used at first. And they threw it through a peach basket, and they put a hole in the bottom. So after each basket, you'd have to take a broom and stick it up through the hole and knock the ball back out so you could start playing again. But that was Springfield, Massachusetts. That's why the Basketball Hall of Fame is there, because that's where James Naismith invented it. This has been your pointless trivia section of tonight's show. Update. She's not in it. Who's not in it? Oh, Nuttin. Okay, what am I looking for? Xanadar. It was called Zonadar, but I like saying Xanadu. I've never heard of Zonadar. So, yeah, I'll have to look it up. The Beach Boy scene is the funniest scene in the movie. Yeah, those guys kind of suck. 1939. It was made for good funny. Lamonia came in and asked if Olivia Newton-John was in it. Gotcha. And then, of course, she said Nutton, and she laughed. And then Bones said laughed. So, yeah, okay, we get it. Update. She's not in. So now we're all caught up. That makes sense. Russell, thank you for the trivia. I appreciate it. Glad to help. And we are still on a damn commercial. That's why I pointed out it was going to be a minute one, because I was going to have to vamp for a second there. Man, they are really trying to push whatever this cyber law is. I've seen this commercial like 3 times and it hasn't penetrated my consciousness, so it's not working well. But something about some law they want me to vote on, and it still has not. Yeah, I'm not even paying attention now. I don't care. Pardon me for my late night protein drink there. I have a beer. I brought the whole collection of liquids. I brought a protein drink, a rehydration body armor drink, a stay awake drink, and a beer. So I am fully covered in all the drinking needs should arise. If I need rehydration or more alcohol content, I'm set liquid wise. And then chips wise, at any point, if the audio quality gets bad, it's because I have Honey Barbecue Barbie chips and Chips Ahoy chips, chocolate chip cookies. So basically, I understood that I was going to be sitting here for the next 3 hours. And you are too. Sorry. I do appreciate all of you here watching, all of you in the chat right now. I see Bones and Lamonia and Russell and our friend Cinephile Sandy was here, and Mayanne and Echo Zero, and I'm sure some of the usual folks will be dropping in over the next few nice long bit of time we got going on here. As we get back from the commercial, we're at the 37 minute mark. We have exactly 1 hour left. It's 1 hour and 37 minutes. Here we see Leon, who I had mentioned earlier, was in the Madonna Like a Prayer video where he's Black Jesus, like she washes his feet and stuff. It's weird. But he also, his acting name, his stage name is Leon. So, as I pointed out, it's a strange name to just go by one name as. It's not like Prince or Mr. Ed. Patrick or Russell says for some reason he doesn't stay awake from caffeine. Yeah, caffeine's a weird drug, man. caffeine will wake me up, but it also puts me on edge. And then I'm on edge and it makes me want to drink more caffeine. And then I just keep adding more edginess to it. Then I'm more just like kind of like cranky and freaked out more than I am awake. But when I first wake up, especially after a long sleep, I need some kind of caffeine. Like my brain's just cobwebs for a good hour. Here we see Leon and Dwayne Martin's mom kind of hooking up there. She's flirting with him, and he stands up, and he's way taller than her. And then, of course, that's supposed to be like, oh, you tall. Here, Dwayne Martin has the same part down the middle of his hair. He has the line in front, like Larry Johnson, the basketball player, Grandmama. Shout out to Grandmama. And a lot of these other chats we end up getting talking about weird 80s wrestling. This one is going to be also a 90s basketball chat, I can tell you right now. Here we see, the young toughs are out cruising around, living that life, smoking blunts. And they see Crazy Leon in the park playing basketball with no ball, talking to no one. But they know there's something special there. He's got moves, even without the ball. Echo Sarah says he's half here making something to eat. Mm-hmm. She's from Utah. Who's from Utah? Having some beans with hot dogs with her tea. Oh, look at you. That's some old beans and franks and tea, huh? Interesting. I mean, I've eaten all of them before, so yeah, it's clearly nothing I'm opposed to. Slightly caught off guard by it. Just beans and franks and tea. This does look familiar, though, from being young and stupid. And it's like, let's just go drive around. Why? Well, we're not at home. You know, like when you get to that teenage or late teenage where you're just like, let's go get in the car and be out. Well, what are we doing? I don't know. Just driving around. Let's drive over here now. Okay. I mean, they even do it in New York. You would think like that would be something you would do in a small town because there's nothing else to do. So let's just drive around. It's like, no, even in New York, it's just get in the car and drive around. I need to look up dude's name. This guy who plays the bad guy in this movie, he's in a ton of stuff. And I don't know if I've ever seen him. He was in The Wire. He's in, oh God, what's dude's name? We're going to get to the bottom of it. I'm going to find out. This is going to be an unloved actor moment here. Let's find out what this guy's name is and see what his IMDb. Not Bernie Mac. It's got to be Byron Mims, right? Or is that Wood Harris? Harris? Nope, that's not Wood Harris. It's got to be Byron Mims. Oh, I hate when IMDb doesn't have a headshot. How am I supposed to know who these people are? No, Byron Mims is the other guy. So why doesn't... What in the hell? Well, what is dude's name then? Yeah, the one, Tupac's main henchman in this. Yeah, they don't have his name. Is it Tyrone Batista? Because he's like one of the main leads in this. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what this guy's name is. I'm going to have to actually watch the credits and find out what this actor's name is. I bet this was riveting podcast or watch-along stuff. But yeah, this dude who's like the fourth lead in this movie doesn't have an IMDb credit. Like, I don't know what the hell. Let's look up the let's Google it and see. Above the Rim cast. Yeah, Wood Harris. IMDb had a different picture for Wood Harris. What the hell? So Wood Harris is primarily known for, oh boy, let's see how many acting credits he's got. 61. His primary, I knew I'd seen him in a ton of stuff. Okay. But he doesn't even have an IMDb picture for Above the Rim. This was apparently his first movie. I was unaware of that. He was in Oz. He was in As Good as It Gets. He was in the Hendrix TV movie where he played Jimi Hendrix. He was Julius in Remember the Titans. He was on Twilight Zone, one of the many remakes. He was in Southland Tales. He was in The Wire, where he played Avon Barksdale. He was in Next Day Air. He was in the Southland TV series. He was in Dread, the Carl Urban one, the good one. Yeah, I think he's one of the henchmen in that. That's why I always remember from. He was Gale in Ant-Man. He's Little Duke Burton in Creed. He was in Once Upon a Time in Venice. He was in Blade Runner 2049 as Nandez. He was in Gangland the Musical. I didn't even know that was a thing. He was in Space Jam: A New Legacy as Coach C. Yeah, and then he's all over these Creed movies. I was unaware of that. So yeah, that dude, he's like the fourth lead, Wood Harris. I'm totally unfamiliar with his. I only know him as a that guy actor. So shout out to you, Wood Harris. Cheers, my friend. So now Leon is already out on a date with Dwayne Martin's mom, basically based on the premise that he tall and handsome. Girl, I don't care if he's a security guard. He's tall and handsome. But I think that's also kind of funny that it builds to the interplay, but it's just some Tyler Perry over drama. Like there's no need for the main character to butt heads with this security guard and later have to be teammates with him, but he's also dating his mom, and it's a lot. It's a lot. Let's see where I am with the chat. Russell says one thing he likes about rappers is they like their blunts. You know, I agree. People were trying to figure out who I was talking about. Danny Trejo, Bokeem Woodbine. Speaking of Bokeem Woodbine, Jason Lyric is a damn good movie. Yeah, Jason's Lyric falls into this same category. There were a bunch of like hip hop movies or movies based primarily for Black audiences. They go in cycles. Like they get real popular and we get a ton of them, and then they kind of go away. Then they have a resurgence. So in this 90s sort of heavy duty resurgence here, yeah, we got Jason's Lyric and Higher Learning you were pointing out. And there's the whole, really what happened is gangster rap got so big, it spilled over into movies. They were like, there's gotta be money there. Let's make gangster rap movies. So there's just a bunch of them, Boys in the Hood and South Central. And then also Colors was one of the first ones that came out, and that got a bunch of critical acclaim, like Academy Awards and stuff. So it was like you could sell it as maybe we could possibly get, award show stuff, but if not, we could have a banging soundtrack and we'll have an audience sort of built in for these movies. But yeah, there's a ton of them in the 90s to the thousands, and then they kind of fizzle out, and then towards the late thousands, you get a handful again with like ATL and some of them, but in general, yeah, they go in cycles. Here you see Tupac trying to recruit Leon to join the Birdmen. And this is where Tupac first starts wearing that headband, do-rag with the flaps turned around. And basically like, that's like a, field hand type thing. You pull your hair up out of your face. And he was the first one to steal that and start doing it. And it got way popular. Like that became the symbol for thug life, But this is one of the first, this, and then later on that All Eyes on Me CD is when he first really started wearing that rag like that. And whenever I see anybody with their rag like that, I think of Tupac or NWO. Bokeem Woodbine always plays a heavy. Yeah. Actually, you know what he doesn't play a heavy in is The Big Hit. He plays a dude with a masturbation addiction. And it's the strangest casting choice ever. It's like, why Bokeem Woodbine is the guy who just can't stop jerking off? Russell says he's never seen any of those movies Wood Harris is in. Oh, yeah, I've seen like all of those. Hey, JRA21, Jeremy Aarons. Nice to see you, Curl. Of course, Curl knows about Above the Rim. I think Curl and I probably used to listen to this soundtrack together in college. Me and him maybe have actually watched this movie before. So, yeah, glad to see you here, Curl. Appreciate you letting me know you're here, buddy. Love Oz, great. HBO's Oz. Yeah, exactly. Leon with the Five Heartbeats. Yeah, for sure. Never seen many African American films. Yeah, I'm a fan. I grew up, my parents were together till I was like probably like 7 or 8. And then they split for about 5 years or so. And obviously, a single mother, we moved from a very all white area to a very like all black and Latino area. Like the whites were in the minority when they would do the school census. So, like black culture, and especially the age I'm in, like I was around for the early hip hop, like Run DMC, and I know people are going to be like, well, what about Sugar Hill Gang and stuff? It's like, yeah, but it didn't get to be hip hop and rap like we know it until the mid '80s, like Houdini and LL Cool J and Run DMC and all them, like the real Roxanne. If you're not familiar with UTFO, don't holler at me. as like 4 viewers leave. What? He's speaking gibberish. Have Cheeto of You, Poetic Justice. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. I'm not as much of a fan. That had a booming soundtrack. Janet Jackson's acting. Janet Jackson's pretty, but I don't always like her acting. But I found Poetic Justice to be sort of sappy. It's like a sweet sort of romantic movie. I thought after Boys in the Hood, John Singleton was trying to show like his emotional side. And I don't know, it never really resonated with me the way some of those other movies I mentioned did. South Central, which is a much lesser movie than Poetic Justice, but I enjoy it way more. Same with Menace to Society and all those the films of that era. Inkwell, like we were talking about. Inkwell's a throwback flick. It takes place, I think it jumps time all over the place, but it's primarily what takes place in the 50s or something. And then Five Heartbeats was mentioned earlier with Leon. Yeah, with that's Robert Townsend. Robert Townsend is one of my fave directors. But getting back to me talking about the era I grew up in, yeah, I've been around black culture for a long time. So even though I'm very, very white, like I'm a fan of all, especially the stuff throughout the 90s. Once it got into the thousands and there was less emphasis on rap and there was more emphasis on like club bangers, I kind of tuned out. So, basically Jay-Z, everybody who came after Jay-Z is kind of not so much to me. Or 50, I guess, is when I tapped out. But all the new rappers, Young Boy, whatever, I don't know any of them. I'm clueless on any of that stuff. Don't you know Young Boy Gucci Face? No. And if you told me that's a real person, I couldn't argue with you. Russell says he loves Colors. Sean Penn is one. Yeah, I love Colors. That's directed by Dennis Hopper. That was one of the first movies that talked about the Bloods and the Crips problems in LA and everything. That one has Damon Wayans. We were talking about the Wayans earlier. He plays Rocket. I saw Colors in the theater, and I think it was the first time my junk ever got touched. So Colors is a special film to me. Well, touched by another person. And I was fine with it. Also King of New York with Christopher Walken. Yeah, that's one I love. That one, Frank White, Biggie. We were talking about Biggie versus Tupac earlier. Biggie often calls himself Frank White in a lot of his raps, and that's like one of his aliases. And Frank White is Christopher Walken in King of New York, which is one of the more underrated sprawling gangland movies. I think it's actually much better than Scarface, but it's less popular. But yeah, King of New York, as far as a gangster rise to power movie, especially these New York's setting, it's a fantastic one. Janet Jackson on Good Times. Yeah, see, Good Times is a weird show for me. There's more black culture that I've seen almost all of. Sanford and Son, Good Times, all the black shows I watched when I was a kid. But on there, she was weird as Penny. There was that whole story with her being abused and everything. So I always found Good Times to be a bummer. Like Sanford and Son was funny every time out, or the Jeffersons were funny. But yeah, Good Times, and then sometimes Chico and the Man was a bummer show too, so I didn't watch it as much. Not a Rapper was called Biggie. It worked years ago. Damn. What you damning about, Lamonia? Now we're on a commercial again, of course, but this appears to be a short one. This appears to be, for those of you tracking along at home, who's how the commercial lengths. This is for Airbnb. So shout out to them. You get a free commercial. Oh, I also have a cupcake that says Bloom. I don't know why. I mean, I guess spring, but I mean, putting Bloom on a cupcake is kind of stupid. Not a fan of the mumble rappers these days. Curly says, "Yeah, Jeremy, I agree with you, buddy. Like I said, in the late thousands, they went to a lot of like really Lil Jon kind of broke rap. It all became about music that banged in the club and made people like bang their, nod their heads and stand there with their hands in their pockets, as opposed to like the emphasis on lyricists. Like one of the reasons Eminem still stands out to this day as being a notable lyricist is because he was one of the last ones. So a lot of the newer rappers, they pick their names from a rap generator, so they just all feel, produced. Sadly, the only rapper from modern era that I would go back and check out is probably Nipsey Hussle. I hear is really good, but he was past my time, so I wasn't familiar with a lot of his stuff. But people are like, I would enjoy all that if I went back and checked it out. Starbucks has breakfast sandwiches now? I didn't know that either. Like with chicken and stuff? I didn't know that. Hard to believe. That episode of Good Times where Florida breaks down after her husband's death, LOL. Exactly. That's what I mean. Like, same with MASH. Like, MASH had a bunch of episodes that were just a bummer. You know what I mean? You turned it on to put it on to laugh. Like, there's no Seinfeld where it's like, remember the bummer episode of Seinfeld? Like, nah. Remember that really heavy duty episode of The Big Bang Theory where we all cried? No, that's not how this works. So yeah, Good Times took itself a little too seriously for me at times. Although I saw Jimmy Dynamite Walker live in concert. He was at the Kenosha Comedy Club down by the lake about 2 or 3 years ago. My cousin Tim took me. Today's Tim's birthday. Well, yesterday was Tim's birthday. So shout out to Tim. See how I tie all this together? But yeah, I liked the principle of, or the idea of Good Times. It's just actually in practice, it wasn't my favorite. So here they're playing the same green team again. Of course, it's supposed to be like the Celtics. And he's playing, and we talked about this earlier, the main point guard of the other team is this white dude who was all over MTV in the 90s, Eric Nies. He was like on the first Real World, and he hosted The Grind, and he's a strange casting guy in this movie. I don't know why he's in it. Sanford and Son was a Brit remake called Steptoe and Son. I was unaware. I agree. Nothing comes close to Pac, Nas, Biggie, M, Cube, Snoop, Jay-Z. Yeah, that's the era I grew up on. Like I said, I got into it in the late 80s, with all them I mentioned earlier. And then in the 90s, in my college age, that was like the peak hip hop of all those, all of them folks you mentioned there, Really, where we started to go downhill was around Master P. All of that, that whole crew, they made dope beats, but their lyrics were sometimes sketchy, even into Juvenile and some of them. Like it started to go downhill. You're working with some ass, yay. You bad, yay. You wrote that down, really? Canadian version of Eminem is called J Rock from Trailer Park Boys. Oh, I need to watch all the Trailer Park Boys. That's one that I've seen enough episodes of it where I enjoy it, but I need to go through and watch them all in order, including the movies. Know what I'm saying? I feel you. I agree. So here we see that Dwayne Martin's being pulled, and he's going to be benched at the end of the game because he just won't pass. By golly, can't you learn to just be unselfish? Make them say, yeah, exactly. Around Master P and Juveniles when it started to go downhill. Eminem and Jay-Z tried to keep being a lyricist. Method Man was always a good lyricist. Redman, always dope. But yeah, by the time it got to be acceptable to just make a club banger, like have a good beat and then just say the same hook 50 times in a song. I got fish for toes. I got fish for toes. Everybody knows I got fish for toes. You'll be singing that damn fish for toes song weeks. It's like, it's just repetitive crap. And, I appreciate the old school stuff. But we are currently at the, where are we as far as watching above the rim? We are at the 55:25 mark, so roughly a half hour left. And then we'll go into juice. We're going to wheeze the juice, bro. Don't wheeze the juice, bro. The other day, YouTube recommended a Totally Pauly fan, and it was just a channel of all old Pauly Shore clips. I was like, what did I do to end up on this algorithm? So I'm no stranger to wheezing the juice, bro. So this dude got pulled from the basketball game, and now he's in the back room crying. Did you ever think you're a poor sport? You know, maybe basketball shouldn't be your priority. Maybe learning to love yourself. Have you considered that? And now he's trying to fight Leon, who would appreciably like pretty much just beat his ass. Are you crazy? And even Leon looks confused. Boy, don't you know I would beat your ass? Now, everybody in the love triangle is in here. Leon's in the locker room. His mom's in the locker room. The extra security guard's in the locker room. Somehow all our main characters have access to the boys-only locker room. Leon's stoic, portraying power without actually even having any dialogue. So the movie has reached a lull. Everybody in the movie's sad. Dwayne Martin's mad. Leon's dating his mom. Leon's not going to date his mom anymore. Dwayne Martin's been benched. Tupac is still gangsta as hell. But in general, yeah, it's a mess on many fronts at this point with a half hour left. Let me see here. Jimmy says, there's no crying in basketball. Exactly. You get it. The Wraith is in YouTube. You're always finding the good stuff on YouTube at baseball. Yeah, you always find the good stuff on the YouTube. So here the coach is explaining to Leon what I've been saying this entire movie is, it's dumb as hell to think you had anything to do with Nutso dying, right? Like, it's totally pointless. He shouldn't have been jumping up at the edge of a building and smacking old plywood to try to stop yourself from flying off the edge of a building isn't really all that smart. It's more of a lesson in physics than basketball, really. And I mean, his name was Nutso. He wasn't going to live long no matter what. Even if he survived that basketball thing, he would have been on some Nutso activity. Oh, Nutso, you so crazy. Wow. I want to go to the Victoria 5. The marquee out front says, Sup, Foxy Brown, 3 the hard way. Well, sup to you, Victoria 5 Theater. Indeed. Oh, let's see here. Sean says he can't stick around for this double dose, but... Oh, Sean, don't leave me in suspense. Don't leave me in suspense. I can't live, but have a good night, everyone. Okay. Okay, that's better. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate you coming, buddy. Like I said, when I was picking out these, I was like, well, Sean will at least appreciate it. For those of you who haven't, be sure to check out Sean's channel. I was on there one time. We watched Judgment Night, another film kind of like around this same era that had just an awesome soundtrack. We watched that together and talked about the correlation of that movie and soundtrack. This movie I owned on VHS, DVD. I don't think I ever got it on Blu-ray. Juice, I believe I've owned on VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray. That's one of those where if you find Juice in the dump bin for $3 or $5 or something, it's like, oh yeah, I'll be taking Juice home with me on Blu-ray. Let's see if I know the ledge. Russell wants to know, what year is Bullet? Not the McQueen film. No, it's a different Bullet. I think they even spell it weird, maybe. One of the things I point out is one-word titles annoy me because not only are they all sound the same, but they're not copyrightable. So you can have multiple movies called Bullet. Just the other night, we were talking about Bound, the Jennifer Tilly, Elias Kotis, Wachowski sisters film. I think they were the brothers at that point, whatever. But there's a asylum knockoff of 50 Shades of Grey called Bound. So you would tell somebody, oh, you'd like Bound, check that out. And then they'd watch some poorly made ripoff of 50 Shades of Grey. Let's see here. You're one of the best, Sean. Have a good night. Yeah, we love Sean's channel. Sean's one of my first longest friends here. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Sean. He's a cool dude. He's always got the good movies on the watch parties. He watches all the stuff you like, but then every now and then he'll mix in a weird one. That's kind of the same movie DJ plan I go with. Our friend Mikey's Morgue is here. Mikey, cheers. Those of you who aren't familiar with Mikey, he's a horror deep dive, but really just any deep dive movies. But he knows all the good hidden stuff to watch. Plus, he's also a good music guy. We were talking about 80s rock before. Mikey's always got the good heavy metal stuff. So, yeah, Mikey's a friend and supporter of the channel. We love us some Mikey here. Juice is a good one. Yeah, I'm a fan of Juice too. We're wrapping up Above the Rim. We're just getting ready to start the basketball tournament. Actually, this part right now at 101:45 is where Tupac does the kind of the infamous scene in this movie where he's chewing the whole movie. We kind of see him like with something in his mouth. And he's talking to Leon. He does like a magician's thing, and he reveals he chews on a razor blade, like as gum, and he's, it's to show like how tough he is and how slick he is, that he doesn't cut his own mouth up by chewing on a razor blade. And I knew dudes who tried that, like they thought that was a mark of being cool, and they cut their goddamn tongues up is what they did. But it's cool when Tupac is kind of talking to him and explaining to him how he's not afraid of Leon, and then he just opens up his mouth and pulls it out, and he just reveals like he's the coolest, calmest dude there's ever been. Let's see here. Thank you, Russell. I appreciate it. Loving you, rule, bro. Yeah, we love us some Sean. Juice Deep Dive Blue Sea. A fucking shark ate me. Let me see here. Deleted comments still go through the streamer though. Yeah. Every now and then I do that too. They end up on the StreamYard stream and they don't get deleted through YouTube. But when I used to use just the YouTube app, they would disappear. So. But the YouTube app is hard to control, and you can't post the comments on screen. So here, Dwayne Martin's mom is breaking up with Leon, and it's sad. So much drama. The Tyler Perry aspects of this movie are the stuff I don't like. The soft lighting and like romantic music. It's way too overly done with the melodrama. But the basketball stuff and like the gangster and the club stuff, all that looks good. Here we are again, the same nightclub they were at before, which is really just like a Holiday Inn ballroom with a curtain. Yeah, they're passing out the jerseys, and Marlon Wayans shows up thinking he's part of the squad. And then they clown him and tell him, man, you suck. Get out of here. And his feelings are all hurt because he's first coming in acting like he's Mr. the Man. And then like Tupac's kind of giving him the side eye, him and Wood Harris. Yeah, shout out once again to Wood Harris, an actor I was not totally familiar with, even though I've seen him a million times. He's another guy with villain face. Like the dude who played Avon Barksdale in The Wire. Like, he just looks like a dude that's a problem. I don't know how he would ever be a good guy in a movie. He might be the comedic friend. He's got a good laugh. I can see him. He's yucking it up with Tupac there. Tupac has a doubled up do-rag, a black, like, kind of sweater, and then he's wearing a leather baseball jersey over the top of it. He must be sweating his ass off. With them movie lights and stuff, sheesh. You don't see a lot of leather baseball jerseys. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't get it. Comments everywhere are becoming brutal to a point where I don't even feel like trying to interact with people, but streaming is fine. But after videos. Let me see here. Hey, Mikey Mouse. Yeah, Sean. Luckily, I have the awesome comments on here, and the people who participate in my chat are all super cool. So for me, the comments actually are the co-host of the show. But the interface, especially through YouTube, is frustrating. Also, sometimes I simulcast to Twitch, and Twitch is nothing but spam commenters. So you have to always double check the Twitch comments. Let's see here. Mikey, thanks for getting me into Anthrax. Great taste in music. Anvil and Canadian group Helix. Yeah, I loved me some Anthrax. I grew up on them. The Walk Among Us CD and that whole Cry for the Indians. And then I Am the Law with Judge Dredd. And then when Anthrax did Attack of the Killer Bees with Public Enemy. Yeah, so I'm an Anthrax fan. My sweet Mayanne. Oh, Mikey and Mayanne are continuing their love affair. Everyone loves Mayanne. She's the queen of the community. The queen of horror, Mayanne. So now Dwayne Martin has literally been locked out of the basketball courts. Like they're chained up because tomorrow's the big game. So the overnight courts. Is that Flip? No, that's Leon. He's going to look for Flip, and he's gone now. The old Bernie Mac character, he's dead. So at this point, Dwayne Martin has caused his mom to break up with a good dude. He's been benched on the basketball team. He quit the Birdman team. He's locked out of the basketball court, and now his old bum friend is dead. So he's at rock bottom. YouTube should show the difference between spam and an actual person trying to talk to someone. Yeah. Which is because they have all that technology and the what do you call it? Sometimes the comments they'll catch it, but it's frustrating. So now here, Leon is actually going to play a real game of basketball with a ball, and he's wearing a coat as he's wont to do. We mentioned the movie started off with him and Nutso playing in their varsity jackets at the same time. People in this movie have no respect for jackets, or they have too much respect for them or something. Yeah, Dwayne Martin's even trying to play with a coat on. But now he's serious. He's taking the coat off to reveal a vest, a sweatshirt, and a thick denim vest over a sweatshirt, over a T-shirt. You want to sweat your ass off, Dwayne Martin. So now 3 possessions, and Leon has already stripped him. Oh, that's right. He goes to Georgetown at the end of this. I forgot. The Georgetown scout is in this, and he's also sort of a like kind of pseudo Allen Iverson character. Like they even have him in like the Allen Iverson Georgetown gear, like being slightly too baggy and stuff at the end. I remember. I mentioned earlier how the Eric Nies character is supposed to be like a Celtic, and he's got like a flat top haircut with a point, and he looks like Eric Montross, like a little miniature version of him. And the character's name is Montross. This is like a total 90s basketball movie. It's absurd. Rip Flip. Exactly. Ammonia right on. Hello. Yeah. Mayanne. That's my friend Jeremy. We, the era this movie is from is how long Jeremy and I have been friends. So, yeah, it was nice to have him turn up in here. Hey, Mikey, silly goose. You are a silly goose. But cheers to Mikey. Yeah, and those of you waiting around for the second feature of Juice, this is at the 109:30 mark, so there's roughly about 25 minutes left in this movie. I'll probably jump right from the credits. We'll discuss the credits, and once we get to an uninteresting point in them, we'll jump over to Max and watch Juice. So the stream tonight will probably be, what are we guessing? I'm going to go 3:10, maybe 3:15. I think it's going to be 3 hours and 10 minutes. That's without going over. And we got hit with a commercial. Did you know Target has Charmin? Jeremy Spoken. Exactly. See, he knows. He's from that era too. Yeah, this we talked about earlier. These are my two favorite Tupac movies. If you're just joining us, put your favorite Tupac either in the chat or in the comments. Um, in my opinion, he's big in his early work. He does movies that go to the theater or that get talked about by film reviewers and everything. But then later on, he does the lower budget, almost direct to video stuff with Gridlocked and Bullet and whatever the other one was. I already forgot. Gang Related. Thank you. That's the one with Jim Belushi that I keep forgetting about. Turn off this. But so far, the stream has been hanging in there. I haven't noticed any loss of internet juice. I wasn't wheezing the juice. As I said earlier, we're once again having insane storms outside. There was a tornado warnings when I started this stream. And by the end of it, there should be snow on the ground. Today it was 72 out. Tomorrow it's going to be 21. So the idea that my internet at any point could just start being weird is very believable. But we're hanging in there. Yeah, once again, here's this cyber commercial that I know nothing about this law, and I'm not going to even pay attention to. Man says, "Oh no, stay safe, Don." Yeah, exactly. They tell everybody on the news to get to a basement and stay away from windows, and I'm on the second floor right next to a window. So I was like, I don't think the Alamo has a basement. I don't know. But it seemed more important to me just to hang out with you guys if I was going to die. The video would be epic. You guys could make shorts out of it. You could do all sorts of stuff. And then I would go out doing what I loved, watching Tupac movies. Let's see here. Mikey says Juice is definitely his favorite Tupac movie. Yeah, I think it's Gridlocked, or is it Bullet? God, it's whenever I open up Tupac, he's done too much. It always wants to show me like the composer and other stuff. Gridlocked is the one I think. I believe I like Juice, Above the Rim, Gridlocked, but I'd have to rewatch them again. It might be Gang Related that I'm thinking of. As I recall, Gang Related I didn't like that much, but those back three I don't remember. Mr. Bones was saying like those are some of his favorites. Here we are at the Uptown Shootout now, which is the last, the climax of the game, the big game at the end. All sports movies have to play to the big game at the end. Once again, the thing I love about this movie is it's real. Like most basketball movies, they try to have low rims so the star can dunk, or they try to have trampolines, or they cut around everything. This movie shows a lot of wide shots. You can see that the people are actually jumping to dunk on a 10-foot rim. Like it's one of the more real basketball movies there are. Tupac is so ballin', he has a lady chauffeur. That guy. Mikey Morgan says poetic justice he likes. Man wants me to stay safe and points out I'm off to say the wizard. Yeah, I was thinking that too. It's very Wizard of Oz. So we watching Frozen again? No, thanks. Yeah, exactly. In the morning we might be. Yeah, tomorrow, depending on how fast that snow melts, maybe tomorrow's feature will be back to snow movies. We'll never can tell. Curl's favorites are Juice and Above the Rim. Yeah, that's mine too, Jeremy. Run DMC and Aerosmith video, Walk This Way. Got the name for the song from Frankenstein, Igor, Walk This Way. Yeah. I remember when that came out. That was a huge deal, that crossover. That video was like number one on MTV for weeks and weeks and weeks. So yeah, Dwayne Martin officially quits the Birdmen here. I like that Tupac has a do-rag for every outfit. Like if he's got the black outfit, he's got the black do-rag. He's got the red outfit, red do-rag. No allegiance to any particular color scheme. So yeah, now Marlon Wayans has been kicked off the team because he just couldn't get Dwayne Martin to stay. And if we ain't having your silliness here, if we don't exactly, there's no need for Marlon Wayans to be here. The old man team is awesome. I never really realized how much I empathized with them till right now. There's one team of like old man game guys, and whenever you play like city league basketball, the old man game team always wins. Like you'll play like in a city league. You know, they organize these leagues for people, grown men to play in. And every time I've ever played when I was young, we always got killed by the dudes in their 40s because they just knew how to play. They had old man game. They like wasted no energy. They barely even ran, but they all had like sweet flat foot jump shots and stuff. So yeah, I forgot about the old man game team. Now this is all just basically you can tell they let them play for the afternoon. Like just go out and play and we'll record it all. And then the footage that looks good we'll use later. Tupac, this whole movie keeps a cigar in his mouth, but he never smokes it. It's just the classic unlit blunt. Let's see what's going on. Shush your mouth, Don. You will live forever, sir. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. That's what I need. We don't get many tornadoes in Ontario. Yeah, unfortunately, as people have been kind of following my adventures on here, I'd been living in a city area most of my life, and then now I'm in a country area. And part of the thing I wanted was the wide open flat lands, but the wide open flat lands getting hit by where a warm front and a cold front slamming into each other. That's where tornadoes happen. So yeah, there was a tornado warning for a long time around here, but since I've been in this area, there's already been 3. So I'm kind of like used to it. Until there's a tornado officially one-sided touchdown in our area, I just sort of mill about and eat snacks, which is really what I do all the time. It's hilarious. The rim is already bent after a day of basketball. You can see like one of the rims is beat down and is hanging, which is apropos of whenever you like played street basketball. Like the rims are always janky and bent from people dunking on them. Yeah, the tournament shootout jersey. Anytime I see one, especially the black one, that's I know you're cool. That's instant street cred with me. Let's see here. I don't miss the snow. Oh, that's right, Curl. You moved. You living in what, Arizona these days? I saw you had moved away from this area and we're living somewhere nice. I don't disclose your total location. I know you're probably wanted by multiple agencies. Sorry, I don't watch much basketball. Yeah, sports are kind of like I was saying earlier. It's weird. Most of my sports friends love movies, but most of my movie friends don't love sports. I grew up on most sports, so I can appreciate almost all of them. Like I don't like cricket, but Jeremy is a soccer player. He's a real good basketball player too. He's got cold handles, but he was a soccer player and a basketball player. I don't know. Curly's a good all around athlete. You're probably good at baseball and stuff too. But like I sucked at baseball because I'm a giant. I have this ridiculous strike zone. So unless I just kill the ball and hit a home run, I strike out every time. I suck. But football, after people realized I could play tight end, I liked it. But when they had to have me on offensive or defensive line, I hated football with a passion. It's like, I want to be a wide receiver. It's like, son, you're husky. You can't be a wide receiver. But if you're husky and tall, they'll let you be a tight end. Let's see here. Not much snow winter so far. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. I hate to be so boring as to talk about the weather, but the global warming, climate change stuff is strange as hell this year. No snow until after the new year, except for on Halloween. Just weird. It's pretty much spring here already in Jersey. Yeah, Lamonia. That's what I was talking about. Today outside it was 72. So people were outside in shorts and everybody was walking their dog and letting their kids ride skateboards and stuff. And then they started putting the weather alerts out that the cold front was coming and we were going to get hit with this snow. It's insane. I remember having one in Northern Ontario. The Sopranos. Yep. Today was beautiful outside. Exactly. Oh, you're in the Bay Area now. Look at you. You traveling around, seeing the world. I'm out hunting cryptids and ghosts in the middle of Wisconsin. I love to play footy and cricket. Footy, yeah. No, I liked most of the big sports, but they have the same drama of movies. Sports are the original reality show. You learn the characters and you sort of care about them, and you hope this person wins and you hope that person loses, and oh, I don't like them, they play dirty or whatever. You know what I mean? It's the tournament, the college tournament, the 64 where you fill out the brackets and all that. That to me is like the original Survivor. Like, you learn these characters over the course of several weeks. It lasts about a month or whatever. And then at the end, Creighton or some jerk off school you never heard of wins. Like, oh, Michigan State won. It's like, I don't care. Mikey says he's busy tonight. What you got going on, Mikey? You at work? Mayan likes to play foodie. Yeah, me too. Actually, thanks for reminding me, Mayan. I should ruin this stream by eating some potato chips. Leon has those Adidas white shell toes with the black stripes on the side, the same ones I use as summertime walkers. So he's going to get ready to go out to school, these kids in these old man shoes. Leon kills me when he shows up. He goes and just murders these guys wearing corduroy pants and a Henley. Yeah, Michael says at work. Today we have rare February from the form, rain and hail. One of us has to work, Mikey. Welcome to my live stream. I'm good at it. I always think ahead. What would be the best chips to eat best thing to eat while I'm talking to people? Potato chips? Welcome to my mukbang channel. Okay, enough of that. Even Leon on the screen was like. So for those of you needing a timestamp, we're at the 119 mark, and Leon is disgusted with me eating chips on air. I have no couth, I say. So now they've decided that even though Dwayne Martin has switched teams and is playing for his high school coach, that he has to point shave as well. Which doesn't really make any sense. If he had the power to quit the team, why would he have the power to not make shots? I don't know. True, man. I have to buy your makeup and horror goodies. Oh, these two. I had to look away. What kind of chips are you eating? These are the Lay's Honey Barbecue. I really just bought them to see if I could figure out the difference between regular barbecue and honey barbecue. Right now, I can't. It feels as if the honey barbecue are just less barbecue. I also have a bag of sour cream and cheddar, which, as anyone knows, those are the best chips for breath. Like, if you have to meet new people, make sure to have some sour cream and cheddar chips first. But I'll stop eating chips on air. But I will eat these 3 cookies. So there's roughly 10 minutes left in Above the Rim. Dude just did a 360 dunk in a game that was close. He needs to be benched immediately. And this was back in the era when everybody wore T-shirts underneath their jerseys. And now, like, nobody would, because they realized it's inefficient. The whole point of wearing a sleeveless shirt when you play basketball is that you can actually raise your arms without having a shirt hinder you. But it looked cool. And sometimes you just got to do stuff to look cool. So now Tupac has basically just been reduced to standing on the sideline and cheering on his squad. So he isn't playing in the movie, which is like, or in the game, which is key because Tupac would, obviously can't play as good as these folks. So they've made him just like the peripheral kind of like DJ Khaled character. He just stands on the sideline and says in another one. Russell is eating bacon cheddar crisps. Ooh, nice. Remember Blue Chips, all the crooked sports going on? Yeah, Blue Chips is another movie in this era that I was a fan of. Saw that in the theater. Came out relatively same time, close actually. I should leave your comment up on talking about it. Yeah, it was big because it had Shaq in it, and it had later on, it had Anthony Hardaway, a dude who later on became Shaq's teammate. Here we see Leon is leaving town. He's decided he's had enough of this life. He's just going to pack up the memories of being a New York baller and leave. And he sees young kids playing the slap the backboard game, and he has this nostalgic flashback, and it all decides that he's going to start playing again. Makes no sense. But here's where he goes to the court and shows up in corduroy pants and a Henley and then schools all these guys. You want to talk about old man game? That's as old man game as it gets. May, love to hear your voice again on Bones channel earlier. And she says, thank you. Yeah, man, I wondered, I was wondering if you were there watching Xanadar, whatever it was called. I know you're often part of the Hobbs Horror, the Boneyard, Jesus Christ, sorry. I was going to say the Midnight Hour. Yeah, the Mr. Bones Boneyard. I know you're often part of that crew with Echo. Mike says, yeah, he knows Shaq and Penny. See? Yeah, it was around the same era. She was there against her will. Oh, man, you know you love it. Part of the charm of the Boneyard is listening to Mayanne get freaked up out. What have y'all got me watching? Mm-hmm. See, Russell agrees. He knows that's the charm of the Boneyard, is making Mayanne watch something awful and then wonder how she got tricked into it. So now Tupac's team is playing like Detroit Pistons bad boy style, and they've just started injuring the old man game team. So of course, like the old men with the bandaged knees have to help the other broken down old men off. And Tupac is on the sideline kind of heckling them. Like, what are you crying about? Like I say, total, like, sometimes when you see those old and one footage of like, people playing at Rucker Park, there's usually some clown on the sideline with a microphone talking trash. That's basically what Tupac does. He's the first mic clown. I legit get threatened. Don, you eat like me, chips, cookies, and the other night Mickey D's. I had Mickey D's earlier, so you knew my you knew my whole schedule. The McDonald's one exit over has buy one get one fillet of fish. So I was too lazy to try to throw together food tonight, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a Tupac live stream, and I'm gonna eat shit food. I'm just gonna have a nice last day of Black History Month. Actually, no. This month is leap year, right? Don't we have 2 more days? Just the 29th. Okay, so just one more day. So special year this year, folks. 29th. That usually doesn't exist. So Leon shows up, throws on the jersey over his wife, his corduroys and Henley, and he's playing in them Adidas flat tops that I use for his like summer walking shoes. And Tupac is loving the angry bad boy style of basketball on that bent ass rim. You could tell Dwayne Martin was good. I think he maybe played at like some small college or something. Like like I said, he was always in celebrity all-star games and stuff. He's real, like, you can tell he's got handles. As opposed to like when someone doesn't know how to play basketball, they bounce the ball like this. Like they don't understand to carry. Like, if you want to look good at basketball, you have to cheat. That's how you get it done. So they're trying to get rough with Leon, and he's already out here busting jumpers like Bernard King. There's a reference that only like 7 people will get. Oh, and there Leon gives him a dose of his own medicine, and he hits old Avon Barksdale right in the gonads. And then Tupac starts whining, and the old Italian coach gives it back to Tupac, and now Tupac looks all bitch-faced, even though he's got a Rolex bigger than my house. And there once again is Leon with that sweet jumper. He's got good follow-through. Like he keeps his elbow tucked. It's Although he comes off a curl that there's no screen for, which is always weird. Like he seems to want to run a J cut where there's no people there. Now we're getting deep basketball for you. But old buddy, Wood Harris, he looks like he can play. Like he's got a sweet left-handed poke. Kind of an old Kendall Gill leaner. And they're just showing us basketball, but they never show us the score. Like we see baskets being scored and we see fancy things happening, but at no point do they ever let us know, like, okay, this is high stakes. And Tupac is just generally frustrated that people make baskets on that bent ass rim. I can't believe y'all kept shooting with that rim bent like that. So now it's just a montage of Leon killing these fools. Finger roll, two-hand poke. He dunked on that guy post. You're not that tall, Leon. Damn. And now, okay, so there they kind of showed the score. They're giving us some sort of tension, but once again, we're seeing no countdown. There's no counting clock. This is all terrible filmmaking, although awesome. Leon's got old boy hemmed up. 75-76 with 9 seconds left. Steal the ball, Leon. Steal the ball. Birdman got a 1-point lead, and Leon's rips the ball. There's a steal by Leon. And he goes down. And what's he do? Pull up. And he throws an alley-oop to Dwayne Martin, who flushes all over Avon Barksdale, because that's how all games end, on a game-winning alley-oop. And there's young Tracy McGrady, or at least somebody with a bad eye. And Tupac is furious. He can't believe his rigged team lost. And somehow now Dwayne Martin's mom wants to get back together with Leon. Like, oh, you won the big game. Maybe you're going to get sex out of this. I think that's kind of the beauty of this movie. It's a street ball movie. Like most movies are high school movies or college basketball or pro or whatever. Because this is street ball, it has the homeless guy and the 18-year-old guy and the 50-year-old dude and the old white guy with the beach hair. Like you're allowed to have a more diverse open cast. And here we're getting ready to have a mass shooting. Yeah, old boy Wood Harris pulls out a pistol from a gym bag and just straight up opens fire at Dwayne Martin to end the movie. And then an undercover cop pulls him out, just shoots him in the chest multiple times. How the hell did we get here? We were playing basketball 2 minutes ago. So yeah, now it's a total mass shooter situation. Everybody's running for their lives. The gunman has been shot. Total batshit insanity. How are we here? 2 minutes ago, Holler, If You Hear Me was playing while people were doing crossover dribbles. Now Leon has a bullet wound to the chest. When keeping it real goes wrong. And now we do a crane shot, probably the most expensive shot in the film, where the crane lifts up and we see the paramedics coming to take Leon away as he's got a big bullet hole in his chest. And we do a slow fade into Tupac at the club, that same Holiday Inn that they hung up crepe paper and red lights in. And Marlon Wayans kills Tupac, shoots him square in the chest. How prophetic. Male commentator. Welcome back once again to Landover, Maryland. And we see Dwayne Martin is doing his Allen Iverson thing where he looks totally like Allen Iverson. He's got the same gray jersey at Georgetown, and it like doesn't fit in the armpits big enough, so it looks too big on him. And yeah, this movie's like the 90 basketball tribute of all time. It's like a 90s basketball mixtape. And boy, let's see. Get back to where we at. Russell wants to know what kind of biscuits. They are chocolate chip cookies, but they're the chunky Chip Ahoy. The And One mixtape tour. Yeah, for shizzle. John Thompson. I forgot John Thompson had a cameo in this movie. Man says, yep, leap year. Mikey hates leap year. Not much cookies, but crisps, yes. When do people celebrate their birthday? They want on February 29th, March 1st, or every 4 years? Yep, my best friend my whole life, my cousin, his birthday is today, the 27th, or the 27th. And I always think like, yesterday when I started this, the 27th. And that's what I always think. It's like, I remember he's trapped in the people who stuck with no birthday. Yeah, I guess they must just do it on the 1st. They just don't get it. They age every 4 years like dogs. Yeah. Leon looking like KD. Exactly. That's what I was saying. He comes around those little curls and he has the hezzy, pull up hezzy. Mikey's still in years. I went to school with Leon. He would always sag his pants. You could see he had skid marks on his underwear. It was gross. I think this is a different Leon, but shout out to that Leon. He provided us with a moment or two of entertainment. Speaking of Leon, the movie ends on Leon watching Dwayne Martin at Georgetown make a jumper. And he's like taking pride that, dude lives out the dream he wasn't able to live out, which is the first theme in this movie. Like the whole point of where like some people, the dreams they wish they had, they pass on to their children. So he becomes like this adopted father to the Dwayne Martin character. And now he sees him live out the dreams he didn't get to live out, yada, yada, yada. The movie is over now. So they're going to show us the other stuff they recommend. It recommends ATL, which we mentioned earlier. It recommends Lean on Me, which we mentioned earlier. It recommends Players Club, which we didn't mention. Don't Be a Menace. That's the only good young Wayans Brothers movie. I didn't dig Scary Movie, but Don't Be a Menace isn't bad. They recommend Set It Off. We didn't mention Set It Off, but that was around this same time, and Queen Latifah obviously is a rapper. Scarface, All the Benjamins, All About the Benjamins, I apologize. New Jack City, South Central, and State Property. And did I mention State Property when we were talking about the 90s hip-hop movies, or the early thousands hip-hop movies? But anyways, that is the end of Above the Rim, the Tupac. He has such a strange role. He's like a gangster, but he's sort of a peripheral character. He's just there to add thug life gravitas to the story. I don't know. It's weird. But we'll go ahead and get loaded up with Max. And that's where Juice is playing. If you're a fan of Juice, go ahead and put in the comments that you love Juice, or if you've never seen Juice before. This is probably a first time for Mayanne. A lot of these were the first time for Mayanne. So if you're a person watching Juice for the first time, let me know in the chat or the comments. Let me go to my stuff. Tupac isn't necessarily the star of Juice, but he's the villain. Like Juice is a weird kind of thriller horror movie. Let me see if I can find Juice. There it is. 1992 Juice on Max. I'll let everybody get a couple seconds here and we'll get started in a second. The synopsis is 4 young Harlem men face their futures with differing ambitions in this tough, unflinching look at life on the streets. Wow. Omar Epps and Tupac Shakur. The star of this movie is Omar Epps. I like him much better than Dwayne Martin. I feel like Dwayne Martin is a poor man, Omar Epps. But it's an ensemble cast. Whenever they do the posters now, they always put Tupac up front and Omar Epps in back because they know this is like Tupac's breakthrough role. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to leave the Leon story up there for so long. Mayanne even says, ew. And she's right. And Lamonia points out he had Hershey's in his Huggies. Yes, nasty. Pugwall, thank you, Matt. I'm glad you're here, buddy. I've got the juice now. Quick hi and bye as everyone is driving. Hello, my friend Matt. Glad to have you here, buddy. Or in for just a second. We mentioned you earlier when the dick pills came on. I'm glad that Matt also knows Juice. Juice is I don't know. It's got a lot of themes in it. Like I said, the Above the Rim had very few themes in it. It's pretty much just a tribute to basketball and 90s hip hop. But this has like all sorts of themes about, gun ownership and, bonding with your friends when you're young and like, not being a snitch and just all this stuff that like it's a deeper movie with a lot more to talk about than Above the Rim, unfortunately. And people are happy Matt is here. Yeah, we all love Pugwall. Hello. If I was born on leap year and 67 years old, I'd be 68, but celebrate for years. Drive safely, Matt. Britt, we call underwear pants and pants trousers. Ooh, look at you guys. I learn new stuff all the time. At least it wasn't a thong. Yeah, old Leon with a whale tail. It always freaked me out because I'm a clean freak and I take a lot of showers. And if I go number 2, I always take a shower afterwards. So you're worried about you must not. How many times? What happens when you have diarrhea? You take like 8 showers in a day, or you just ride it out? I want to know about your pooping habits, Matt. All right, I'm going to wash down this cookie with this beer, and I'm going to start juice. Those of you who want to get in, as I said, it's on HBO Max or Max, as it's called now. I'm still never going to get totally used to it being just Max. Wow. The genres for this movie, according to HBO, are crime and big screen crime. My. Well. Fancy. But I'm going to go ahead and hit, we'll go ahead and watch now. So HBO fanfare is playing, movie presentation. That's the best part of watching these HBO movies on the captions. Everyone has fanfare playing. We all kind of know the HBO sound. Do, 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 do. There. Oh, I just got sued. This is a Paramount production, the Paramount Mountain. I saw this in the theater. I own it on VHS, DVD, and I believe Blu-ray. The Blu-ray, I'm not sure about. I know for sure on VHS and DVD. I might even have 2 versions of the DVD. The soundtrack for this is banging. I have the soundtrack as well. Notably Eric B. and Rakim, but it's a compilation. So there's a whole bunch of folks on this one. What is it? Son of Berserk. What could be better, bitch? What could be better, bitch? Yeah, it's a jamming soundtrack. And even now, the opening credits, it starts off with "Let's See If I Know the Ledge" by Eric B. and Rakim, and it's got like the record player. This movie's all about like DJing. Well, it's got a lot to do with DJing in it, but it's just pictures of Brooklyn and all in fast motion. So it's like it's just cut together like a music video. Let you know right from the start like it's going to be good. And there we see Queen Latifah, Samuel L. Jackson. Good. Wow, casting by Jackie Brown, but not that Jackie Brown. Original score by Shock Lee and the Bomb Squad. When I was talking about old school rappers earlier and the 80s rappers, there you go. Putting brothers to rest like Elliot Ness. I love when they have these rap songs, then they have the lyrics on in the captions. Like they just keep going by real fast. I'm chill like Pacino, whip like De Niro, black, it's hilarious. And then in this movie, it has Tretch from Naughty by Nature is one of the thugs, one of Radamez's gang. This movie I've seen so many times. I don't even know, man. We want to talk comfort food film. This more so than Above the Rim. Above the Rim I just liked because of the basketball. It hit me at the right age to love the basketball. But this was like a coming of age movie mixed with a scary, almost horror thriller. It has all these cool young actors and like it's about, young dudes being friends and all this. So it's got kind of like a Stand By Me feel to it. But like if the dudes in Stand By Me started murdering each other, it's got this whole thing with Omar Epps as our lead character, but his girl, even though he's in high school, his girlfriend is like a nurse in her 20s. Sure. But there's so much going on in Juice. Omar Epps with a cool ass haircut. He's got like kind of a high top box, but then 2 lines across the front. I think in a minute we see Steel. Steel is like the comic relief in the movie. He's kind of like the chubby guy with the big chubby cheeks. But this is a good like low level crime drama movie. You know, wannabe gangsters almost. If I have a stomach issue, which I rarely do, I pay the price. My ass is washed raw. Okay, so we got back to the catching up on Mikey's butt issue. Snatch film with The Rock. I don't know about Snitch. Latifah. Yeah, here we see Steele is sleeping in bunk beds with his brothers. All this stuff on the opening is important because we see that they're kids. You know, when it turns into murder and gunplay and stuff, it becomes way more serious than like some hardcore, you know, gangsters out of prison, some dudes who've seen some things. Like this is a movie about people who learn about being bad, you know. Yeah, here's Steele. He's pardon the pun, he steals the movie. That's kind of a cool shot that yeah, this is just a much better made movie. I'm 2 seconds in. I've already noticed like the composition of the shots are way better than Above the Rim, and like the color choices. And here we see Tupac is saying he lives with his grandma. And then we see his father's like, you know, not there mentally. And that obviously influences the Tupac character. You know what I mean? He doesn't have like proper family home and he's kind of parenting himself. And then that's actually kind of interesting. I never noticed that. The dad is watching an old John Henry cartoon and he's like, "You can do it, John Henry." And he's like, "I'll have to," which is kind of the themes of the movie. Like these guys feel like their life is hopeless and they have to like pull themselves up by, you know, doing criminal licks and stuff. They don't feel like there's some future job where they're going to get paid. So that's why it's easy to have apathy and fall into a life of crime and should make bad decisions because you don't feel like you got any future. See, as I said, this movie has way more themes and deep thought put into it than even 5 minutes of Above the Rim, even though there are some dope reverse alley oops and Above the Rim. But yeah, we're jumping back and forth. Them getting ready at each of their house, and we kind of learn about each character, like how Raheem's overly pretty and trying to like take his time in the bathroom and get all like looking right, as where Steele is fighting with his brother. You know, I don't know. It's good character building, and we're not even a couple minutes in. Oh, there's Steele has the Reebok pumps, and then he takes off the white ones and goes with the D Brown blacks, but then the little brother disapproves. So then he eventually goes with some Timberlands, and the little brother's like, "Yeah, that's it." Steele, on the other hand, has some ridiculous overalls on, but once again, stealing the movie by being comedic relief. Although he looked kind of like one of those worms from Beetlejuice with that white stripy shirt on, but that's a whole other story. Let's see here. Sam's from Lean on Me was also in Fat Beach. There you go. Is that Steele? Yeah, he wasn't Lean on Me. All right, I remember him being in Fat Beach. Love and Basketball. Omar Epps. Yeah. Omar Epps I like in The Program, and I liked him in Higher Learning. And he replaces Wesley Snipes in Major League 2. He's Willie Mays Hayes in the second one. But Omar Epps was I think he was on ER. Maybe I didn't watch much of ER, but I think I've seen him on there before. He was like they were convinced he was going to be a big actor, and they put him in a lot of stuff for a while. But then, yeah, he didn't really. Like, I'm surprised we don't see him in stuff now as much. Let's find out what's going on with Omar Epps, shall we? Omar Epps. He's best known for House. I was unaware he was even on House. Omar Epps has 43 credits. Yeah, see what I mean? Method Man had more credits than him, but that Method Man thing was a trick because his music videos were on there. Omar Epps was ABC After School Special. This was his first movie. He was in a movie called Street Justice. He was in Daybreak. He was in The Program, Major League 2, Higher Learning, Don't Be a Menace to South Central, Scream 2, but he was also in a TV series called Screen 2. Huh? How many people can claim that? He was in the Mod Squad. I do remember him. He was Link. He was in The Wood, In Too Deep. I do remember that. That was actually another one with a really good soundtrack. That's Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, 187 on an Undercover Cop. Love and Basketball, Dracula 2000, Big Trouble, Conviction, Against the Ropes. Oh, yeah, he was in Against the Ropes with Meg Ryan. Alfie, the TV show Shooter, and then, The House, The Devil You Know. Yeah, not so much. So here's Radamez. I looked up just in time for the perfect part. Tupac is and his gang are walking along the street, and Tupac's walking along by himself, and he gets bumped into by the local thug group, and one of the henchmen in that group is Tretch from Naughty by Nature, and the leader of their gang is this Puerto Rican dude Radamez. And yeah, we used to always use Radamez as like a catch-all for like a tough guy Puerto Rican dude. I don't know. Radamez over there was giving me the eye. So now here Tupac just basically tells an entire gang of dudes, don't mess with me. But this is important to establish that why one of the many reasons he would want a gun and why he would feel like he needs a gun or whatever. And now Pac sees that his friends are coming up behind him to help him. And then he starts talking extra tough. So the movie right away shows that if he feels like he has the strength to act out, he will. But if he feels weak, he'll behave, which is like part of the whole gun ownership thing where it just gives like anyone power. They feel like so much. Guns are almost a drug. Like once people have them, they feel a security that also makes them feel different. And that's kind of what this movie is about, how the gun gives people juice. It gives them strength, power. You know, they're in charge. And now how does this whole scene get broken up? With an old man who comes out and points a gun at everybody and they all run away scared and laughing. Old man Quillis. As you can tell, I've seen this movie so many times. This one was, I often remember when movies are on, and for some reason that dictates how I feel about them. This was an anytime, day or night movie, mostly during the afternoon for some reason. Like if you'd come home from school and Juice was on, it's like, yep, figures. Or if you'd stay home sick from school and at 1 p.m, Juice was on. But it's I don't know. It plays well. The tension builds within it. It's a good film. Let's see here. Don McCann has never made a movie called She-Ball. You might like. It's a hood b-ball movie. I don't know. Nick Cannon, it rubs me the wrong way, although I did see him on something that made me like him. But in general, I don't like Nick Cannon, but I'd be curious. Is it like a Joanna Man? Because I love Joanna Man with old boy from Friday the 13th. Not them damn enchiladas. Demon, is that dude's name in Friday the 13th, part 5, I think. You know, I'm glad you said that, Mikey. I've heard that some men do not do that because they think it's a feminine thing to do. Good on you. So my Lamonia is complimenting Mikey's ass wash hygiene, as really we all should. Here's to you and your clean butt, Mikey. Thank you, Lamonia. I don't care what people say. I love to be clean and smell good. I've often accused you of being effeminate for how good you smell, Mikey. I remember that's been the contention of between me and you before. He hates Nick ever since America's Got Talent. I think I just got tired of Nick Cannon when he started dating Mariah Carey, and then he was jealous that Eminem used to date Mariah Carey, so then he called Eminem a racist. And I was like, man, don't pull a race card in that situation. Give me a break. So yeah, I don't know. Ever since then, and then when we found out he was the father of like 900 children all over the place, I was like, oh wow, Nick Cannon's more than meets the eye. Here, they're at the arcade, and we can see GQ, Omar Epps' character Q. He's out selling his mixtapes, and then we can see Samuel L. Jackson's the guy that runs the arcade, and then at the end he has the famous line at the end, like, or is it him or is it the other guy? He says, "You got the juice now." No, it's some rando dude. Samuel L. Jackson's just there staring at him. But this is one of Samuel L.'s early films too. Have I seen The Wood? I have, and I'm totally drawing a blank on it. I remember that's another one of those, like the Inkwell. Oh, damn it. Yeah, I barely remember it. That would have to be a rewatch. Latest thing I seen Epps in was Trick. I didn't see Trick. The Program on YouTube. Love the film. Yeah, I love The Program. That was one I watched a bunch of times. That was out around this same area. It was Above the Rim and all those, like that era. And I don't know, when Omar Epps was at his height, I guess you would say. the early to mid 90s. I hope you're talking about the movie Bones. Have I seen The Wood, Don? Yeah, good point. I think you tricked me into one there, Bones. Well, your name is Bones. So let's see. Yep. Mikey, have you done one from Massacre at Central High? I don't think I've ever seen Massacre at Central High. Oh, look at Mikey being clever. He says, Mikey, and he says, yes, Russell. And then he says, have you done the one for Massacre at Central High? And he says, yes, Russell. Mikey's a wordplay genius with a clean booty is what he is. Have you seen He Got Game? It's good too. Let me pull this microphone a little bit closer so it's a little bad. And let me know in the comments or the chat below. The last two chats I've done, the positioning of the camera, when I went back and watched the replay, it looks like I have eye makeup on, like I'm wearing eyeliner or something. Like it looks like Aaron Rodgers and The Undertaker got in that machine from The Fly together. Like I look weird. I don't know. I got some sort of Bret Michaels carrot top eye thing going. But I promise you, I'm not at home with eye makeup on, so I don't know. If Nick Cannon rubs you in any kind of way, you get preggo. Oh, I walked into that one, man. You got me there. I got pregnant by Nick Cannon. Have you seen the White Man Can't Jump remake? Answer these questions faster, damn it. No, I haven't seen that one. Is it what, Jack Harlow in it? No, I haven't had Hulu in a minute. Hulu is one of those I get for 6 months at a time, and then I binge watch everything on there, and I get sick of what they have, and I turn it off. But I haven't had Hulu in a minute. Or is that on Prime? I might have just made an entire excuse that didn't hold any water. But either way, no, I haven't seen the updated White Man Can't Jump. When I heard they were making the remake, I kind of made a face. But if they did something where they kind of sort of worked the plot so it was different and worked as a companion piece with the original one, it'd probably be all right. But if they just do a beat for beat remake, then nah, it wouldn't be something I like. Great slasher. Trick is decent. It's screamish, and Epps is playing a Dr. Loomis type character chasing after the main bad guy. That's cool. I like that casting. That sounds interesting to me. Like Omar Epps as a guy who's a doctor, because he plays so many whatever hip hop, young thugs and athletes kind of thing. So yeah, to see him then play a doctor and then move on to play like a Dr. Loomis type character. I don't know if he was a doctor on ER or not. I promoted him to one if he isn't. But then they do all this character building stuff is going on the screen right now. We see like the four dudes, Steele, Raheem, Q, and Bishop, all hanging out together. And then as they walk around town, we see like the way the corny white guy reacts to him, where he's like afraid they're going to mug him. And you kind of just understand their world and their viewpoint. And it all helps influence later on when the gun gets introduced to the situation. They made a movie called Strapped later on, which was kind of in this same thing where they talked about like how guns affect people. There was also, what was Matty Rich's movie? Crooklyn, I think it was called. Similar thing. There's also one, God New Jersey Drive, I think it's called. And it's about like carjackers, but it's a similar type of thing, like how these dudes basically feel like they're painted into a life of crime, like with hopelessness or whatever. But it's a much more like Juice, I think, is one of the best in this genre because it makes its points about people, but it also is like a good scary crime drama. And then later on, when like Bishop has the gun and they're all afraid of him and he's sort of stalking them, and the one jump scare scene in the school where he's hiding behind the locker door, all of that's just awesome. Where are we? I have to get back to work. Hopefully I can pop back in on you guys before the movie's over. If not, a great night, Mike. Thank you, Mikey. I appreciate you being here, buddy. Mikey's the man. He's also, I believe, nominated one of the people for Entertainer of the Month. I know Mayanne is. I think maybe Pat Master is. I don't even remember. Everybody I like is nominated against me, so it's a big pain in the ass. Here, GQ is trying to flirt with the girl behind the counter at the record place so his friends could steal. And then he kind of walks up at her and he looks at her body and he's like, hey, what's up? And then she turns around and gets off and she is brutal looking and she's got like the big gold tooth. And yeah, I don't know. That's a funny scene because usually they often have the pretty woman flirt with the man for distraction. So here they have like the handsome man flirt with the woman behind the counter. But we see them stealing records because then later on GQ's got the big DJ competition. Let's see here. Russell says, football film with Al Pacino Any Given Sunday. Big Al fan since Needle and Panic Park. Panic and Needle Park. What is it? Yeah, I enjoyed Any Given Sunday. I think it's crazy. Like the whole thing's like a music video. It's just the adrenaline it takes to watch it and just the hits and everything. It feels like football. It's heavy metal. Lamonia is wishing Mikey good night. See you in a bit, Mikey. Later, Lamonia. What else also has Jamie Kennedy in it? What do you call it? Trick. Thank you, Jesus. I had to go back and look. Lamonia is cool. Yeah, she is. I agree. And she says, "Aw shucks," because she's modest and nice. Yeah, Lamonia's awesome. She turned up on my channel, and when I saw her on your channel, I was like, okay, I should have known she was part of the Midnight Hour Boneyard crew. You and your tag team partner have awesome peeps in your collection. As do I, and I thank you all for joining me tonight and watching this with me. We're currently 1:13 left in our marathon. So there's an hour and 13 and 20 seconds. Well, 15 now left in Juice. Yeah, the reason I picked this double feature was obviously because of wow, they're at a bar, and in the bar, one of the patrons is Eric Sermon from EPMD. But yeah, he's got this wicked bucket head. And I wanted to see. Oh, I do remember. This is awesome. He goes over. He's like, yo, Blizz, man, what's up? He sees his friend who he hasn't seen for a minute. And he's like, yo, man, it's Q. Remember me? He's like, yeah, I remember you. How's your crew and all that? He's like, it's all good, man. When'd you get paroled? He's like, oh, yeah, I got paroled the other day. And he's like, yeah, I hope you're taking care of yourself. He's like, yeah, man, I'm about to rob this bar. Hold up. And he pulls out a gun and just starts robbing the place. Pardon me, I'm about to rob this place. And he just whips out a shotgun. Yeah, there's EPMD. There's Eric and the other guy. But this kind of, I don't know, it's scary, but it's also funny. Like, hold up, man, I'm about to rob this place. He's like, you want some of this action? No, I'm good. Thanks, man. And then he tells him, he's like, yo, Blizz is in there robbing the place. And Tupac wants to run in and join in on the robbery. And there we can see Raheem is holding an EPMD record. We just saw them in the bar. That's kind of funny. So now Raheem's laying down the law, letting him know like he's the leader of the crew. And he's telling him, it's not worth it to go in there and get arrested and shit. And this is all good character work stuff. They show the dynamic of the crew, like where Raheem's in charge and like Bishop's kind of mad that he can't just be the wild dog. But that's always kind of in these gangster movies. I mean, that's the theme in The Godfather, that, Sonny is too hot-headed and wild to be in charge of the family. And that's the issue like with here. Raheem is in charge because he's the clever, smart one, the level-headed. So there we see Raheem's losing his woman, and they show her getting into a BMW with some dude, and it's this rapper named Special Ed, who was popular in the late 80s. He was all over BET. This has tons of cameos just over and over. Oh, let's see where we're at here. Bone says, I don't know if she belongs to me. She belongs to no one, I thought. I seen her in your chats first. Lamonia is a friend of the community. That's why we love her. I actually subbed to you first, Bones, over a year ago. I think I just started coming on Don's watch long because he was up late and so was I. That sounds about right. That's what what function I'm trying to serve here is folks who are up in the middle of the night when everyone else has stopped streaming and there's no one to hang out with. And it's like, well, I can either sit here and watch a movie or I can kind of just, hang out with some other people who are awake too. And it lets me do my Joe Bob Briggs movie hosting thing. Speaking of movie hosting, these guys are watching the old James Cagney. I believe this is what, Angels with Dirty Faces or whatever. The one where he says, or Angels with Dirty Souls. I'm sorry. Angels with Dirty Faces is the Home Alone knockoff where they're like, Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. This is one where he says, top of the world, ma. Or is that Caged Heat? But yeah, he watches this old Jimmy Cagney movie where they're like basically seeing Jimmy Cagney, I made it, ma, top of the world. Everything's burning around him and Tupac loves it. Like, because that's kind of how he is. He's like the Joker. He wants to watch the damn world burn. Oh, let's see here. Russell says, respect and love to y'all. Thank you, Russell. Respect and love to you, too. Yeah, the night owl is good for that. I am good for that. I'm up all night every day. Yeah, that's I'm late, I'm up. Let's watch something. He knows. He's seen the intros. Let's get it. It's a good tactic, Don. Thank you, Mr. Bones. Yeah, that's the movie. People who hosted movies when I was a kid, that's what was up. It was like I wouldn't have watched them otherwise, but I'm awake in the middle of the night and there's Rhonda Shear and she's like, here's anyways, I went from Rhonda Shear's boobs to watching them seeing Blizz get murdered. So we see on the news that crime, that robbery at the liquor store we saw at the bar a second ago, Blizz got shot to death. And then the attitude is, Raheem says, see, if you would have been there, you would have got killed too. And Tupac is like, if we would have been there, we would have got away with it because he would have had extra help. So you can already see that Tupac is like on a path to trouble as opposed to like Raheem, who probably will, be the manager at the Home Depot or something. Like he's like a solid dude who could probably just work his way up to some like, adequate job, as where Tupac kind of knows he's either going to end up dead or in jail. What does BET mean? It's Black Entertainment Television. It used to be, actually, I think it's probably still on, but it was the competitor to MTV. First there was VH1, and then after that was BET, and they would show primarily just black music videos all day. And then later on, they moved into showing movies and producing movies. Like there's a BET like production brand. Like sometimes you'll see whatever. Now the last time I saw BET on cable, they pretty much just showed like Tyler Perry movies all day long. But like they used to have this host, Donnie Simpson, who was like just this cool black dude with a Jerry curl who would come on and talk about soul music. It was kind of like Soul Train, except all day long. And then, of course, like there'd be white people who'd get pissed and how come there's no white entertainment television and all this shit. It was ridiculous. But yeah, BET was a sort of a cornerstone, especially there was a show 106 in Park on the afternoons, and they would show like all the best rap videos because MTV would show whatever the popular NSYNC and boy bands and Britney Spears and all that, but BET would have the deep cut rap. My first solo stream was at 2 a.m. because I was bored and Hobbs was on the first few and he said he can't do 2, let's do 12, and I can't do 12, let's do 11. That's the thing. I like the other night I had Larry on as a guest, the horror cat dad, and we started early, like we started at 8, and he was apologizing for making me start so early, and I'm like, no, don't apologize. I understand. That's when normal people are up. That's the whole hook of me being anything interesting is the fact that I have this weird sleep disorder and I'm awake every damn night at like 3 and 4 in the morning. It's the old professional wrestler gimmick thing. Like I figured out who I am, which is like a person who knows a lot about movies because I've been up my whole damn life. And when everyone else is sleeping, I'm watching 2 and 3 movies. And then you take that and you turn it up to 10. So it's just like, let's take this Insomniac character thing and just make it who I am. Because I ain't got no choice. I'm the Mick Foley of staying awake, damn it. If you smell what the Don is cooking. Black Entertainment Television. Yeah, she knows. Hobbs. Yeah, I feel you. I saw Hobbs. Yeah, you and Bones and Hobbs, I often, when I first met you guys, I jokingly called you FTR because I often thought of you as a tag team. Like now, I recognize each of your personalities, but that was what I would notice at first because you both have the black dots. Your avatars are black dots with the little white skull thing in it, and his is like kind of the like coiffed. The hell's it called? The pompadour skull skeleton thing, and then you with the usually the main thing I attribute to you is the BMX. When I was able to hang the BMX stuff on you, that gave you more of an identity, and I was able to tell you apart. That was the mustache on the guy from FTR. But I always often lump you guys together. I talk about the Boneyard and the Midnight Hour as almost a companion piece show. I feel like the two of you go together. Let's see. Russell says he loves those old gangster films. Yeah, I do too. The old Humphrey Bogart and James Cagney stuff. Edward G. Edward G. Mason? Is that his name? The guy with the deep jaws and talk like that. Edward G. Robinson. Jesus Christ, that's his name. Yeah, he was in the original Scarface and stuff. Yeah, here we see the girl I was talking about earlier. GQ has a relationship with this nurse. It's supposed to make us know that GQ is like this cool, wise beyond his years ladies man, because even though he's in high school, his girlfriend's like a nurse in her 20s or whatever. And then she's throwing out her old man. So they kind of tell the story that maybe she's getting a divorce or she had a long-term relationship with this dude who's slightly older than her. And now on the rebound, she's with a dude who's way too young for her. So she has like this whole weird character arc going on. That's not even really an important part of the movie, except later on when Steele gets shot, she's at the hospital. So basically she's Chekhov's nurse. You can't introduce a nurse in the first act or in the second act without bringing her back in the third. Here, now they're watching BET. Shout out to us. We were ahead of it. BET was shit when I was a kid, but it changed and went full hell with MTV. Yeah, it went all hell. Yeah, I agree that when I was a kid, BET was awesome. It was, that's where all the good rap was. And in the middle of the night, they had that, I can't remember what it was called. BET Late Night, maybe something. Basically, they had a show that had uncut rap videos past midnight, and you would see like women in thongs bouncing their butts and stuff. Like they had kind of a more explicit audience one. BET Uncut, I think it was called. And you would see like the ludicrous videos without the blurs over the girls shaking their booties on a yacht or whatever. Now, just because she's in her 20s, if he's under 18, this is statutory rape, and we're supposed to just be fine with it. But I don't know. I think it goes back to that whole thing where if it's a man with a woman, it's creepy. But if a woman with a man, people are like, yeah, good for her. Let's see here. Wet. That a channel you start late? Maybe if I get enough funding. Yeah. Oh, you guys. So now GQ. Yeah, this is one of these movies where high school kids are way more advanced than ever I was. Like, I was very childish all through high school. Occasionally I'd end up in adult situations, but they were done quick and fast. They weren't like how when you watch Rebel Without a Cause and them kids are out like drag racing and getting drunk and smoking cigarettes and stuff. It was like, nah. I'd occasionally have a cigarette. Maybe twice a year I'd get drunk. But it wasn't until I was like 17 or 18 before I started being a troublemaker. Like, maybe even closer to 19. But when I was like 14 and 15, I was like, no, I'm not staying all night with my nurse girlfriend winning the local DJing contest. So now here he comes home and he finds Raheem waiting for him in the hallway in the stairwell, which means he must have just been sitting there for hours waiting to talk to him. And he explains to him how they're going to pull off a crime while GQ's at the DJ contest. So that way they all have an alibi. So they're going to rob Old Man Quillis's bodega. And here we get like kind of just a montage of music real quick where we see him cutting up together his set and practicing for tomorrow with the different turntables. Yeah, if you're into DJing, this is definitely a good movie for you. I was never a fan of DJing. I mean, I dig going to parties where they're doing stuff, but I was never into turntables and all that. But we're still doing like character building. We're 59 minutes left. So that means we're about 38 minutes in. So yeah, we're still just sort of establishing who everybody is and what's going on and their motivations, because we haven't even robbed the bodega yet. And that's where everything goes south and the whole plot like turns on itself. I'm guessing that will happen at the 45-minute mark, roughly. Because usually in a movie, you're supposed to, at the midway point, kind of have a plot turn or a twist, as it were, to reinvigorate the audience for the rest of the movie. So since this is a well-made, well-thought-out movie, I'd be willing to bet somewhere around the 45-minute mark is when we'll rob the liquor store and shoot Old Man Quillis. Oh, let's see here. What's going on with the chats? I saw an old black and white gangster film with Mickey Rooney called Babyface Nelson. Back then he was baby-faced. Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen Babyface Nelson, but I remember Mickey Rooney when he was a young man. I saw old clips of him when I was a kid and stuff. We are a tag team. People call him Hobbs and Bones sometimes. We are one. LOL. Yeah, that's what I mean. I often compare you guys. Now, like I said, the BMX was the tip off. That gave me something to differentiate you guys. And then when I started watching Hobbs's van life videos, because I was getting ready to head out on this big road trip and I was going to be living out of the car for a while, like a lot of his van life stuff. So, but then when I heard you guys live in the same area and hang out and stuff, I was like, of course you do. So here we see these guys. GQ is going to audition to be in the DJ contest, and the woman running the DJ auditions is Queen Latifah. And this woman's kind of, the dude's telling her like, you should bring me in. What you getting rid of me for? Blah blah blah. I think that might even been an actor. I can't remember who now, but a dude who shows up and stuff later. But we see that Queen Latifah digs GQ stuff, so he's going to get put into the contest. And the DJ contest is one of the hype parts of this movie. Like the way they shoot it with like this kind of like body rig cam where it's almost like a GoPro where you can see the people walking. It's almost like Spike Lee style. This movie's got a ton of style and like the composition and the cinematography and stuff is fantastic. Even now, like there was a 2-shot and they went in. They did a slow push in to a one shot on Queen Latifah, and then when they kindly got her over to the left side of the frame is when they cut to a different shot where the door opened up on the right side. That's next level filmmaking. The people who made this were actually smart and had a plan. It wasn't like I said, with Above the Rim, which is pretty much just let's make a cool basketball movie. Russell's laughing at Bones, calling him and Hobbs a tag team. E.G. and old Scarface, never seen him in it. Yeah, the original Scarface, the one before, the Al Pacino one, the one from the 40s. Yeah, I believe that was Edward G. Robinson, I believe. Love the X-Hamster website. Oh, do you now? They got gerbils on there. Bones is laughing too. Yep. Not watching, just chatting. I like how Steele has the same outfit on he had in the beginning of the movie, except it's different. Instead of a red and black striped shirt, now it's a yellow and black striped turtleneck. And then instead of instead of a white and black shirt, it's a yellow and black shirt. Instead of a red overalls, now it's denim overalls. He found a look that works for him, and he's just going to keep going with it. Let's see if he knows the ledge. So, yeah, here's the part where they kind of pull aside and they're talking about this plan to rob old man Quillis' store. And Tupac handles the little gun. It looks like a little 22 or something. And it's like the power in his eyes and stuff. Like he's just so happy to finally have some strength in his life. He's had aspirations of being tough, but he doesn't really have the muscle or the strength to back it up. But now he's got this gun and he does. And you can see it just like as a character, he's all lit up now and happy, and he keeps pointing it at stuff. It looks like when Homer got the gun and he was using it to change the channel on the TV and open beers and stuff. Russell said he had a son with his childhood sweetheart at 13 and she was 14. Yeah, that's slightly different than passing nursing school and having a job at the hospital and dating a high school boy. That feels weird to me. It's like, so you got geography tomorrow? How's that going? Bet you're really excited for those new tennis shoes to come out. Did you watch the new Power Rangers episode? Like, what the fuck y'all talk about? Used to drag race on the back streets. Yeah, I was never a racer. A bunch of my friends were, especially after the Fast and the Furious movies. People just became enamored with street racing. But no, I was never into cars. I was never a gearhead, but I got into computer stuff right away. I was an early adapter to the internet and to home computers and stuff. Here we go to the club and we see it. And of course, we're listening to Eric B. and Rakim. Jesus Christ, my mouth quit working there. Listening to Eric B. and Rakim. I saw Rakim in concert one time live, VIP. I was in the front rows. He was just killing it. I've also seen Ice Cube in concert, seen Biggie. I've seen Ice Cube more times than I can keep track of. I've seen Biggie several times. Or I saw Biggie once, I apologize. I saw Naughty by Nature. So Tretch, who's in this, I've seen him in concert. I've seen Meth and Red in concert, Eminem in concert. Never saw Jay-Z. Oh, here's Fab Five Freddy. So you were supposed to know that this is an important event because Yo MTV Raps is there. And this is what I was talking about earlier, the DJ competition. Like, I don't know if anything like this really exists, but the way they set this up, they make it look live. Like where they put one DJ up on one side of the room and one DJ up on the other side of the room. And we see our guys all enter the party and everybody's happy and welcome them. And like, yeah, this is good stuff right here. It's kind of a young man's fantasy. And then it even has like a dreamlike quality to it at one point where Q is walking and the camera's doing like a POV thing. And we see like the crowd all around him in like a surreal kind of push-in thing. Sorry to disagree, Don. I've seen the OG. There's 2 Scarface films, but we'll check. There's only two Scarface ones. We'll check. Yeah, isn't that Edward G. Robinson in the original, the old school original Stars one? Oh, I'm thinking of Little Caesar. Okay, there you go. That's what I'm thinking of. Then never mind. Now you're making me jealous. I've only seen country singers. My fam drugged me to in a drowning pool with the OG singer. Yeah, I've been lucky with concerts. I'm a fan of music, but not to the point for as many of the good people as I've seen. I saw when I was a kid, I went to a concert for some punk bands, and while I was there, I stumbled onto the Misfits. Like I was in junior high then. I've seen Rob Zombie in concert. Yeah. Rob Zombie was with Korn. I've seen Whitney Houston in concert. My aunt had a hookup for the local sports stadium, so she took us over there one time, and we were sitting in a luxury box to watch Whitney Houston. Bizarre. Talk about surreal. I don't think I've ever been to a country concert, which is weird because in this area we have Country Thunder, which is like this big, huge country thing, and people camp out and stuff. And I've never been. People go and get pregnant every year. Stop by and listen to some country music and catch VD. So now they're basically just all cutting up Juice, the Let's See If I Know the Ledge. And now GQ's jumping in and stealing his beat. Oh, this is good. And of course, all the records have Def Jam labels on it with them turned out side up. They must have had money in on this. Mr. Bone's not jealous of Whitney. At the greatest times of our lives in Woodstock. And I will always love you. I never went to Woodstock 69. That's awesome. That's awesome. Wow. Yeah, I watched Woodstock 90, whatever, live over like the course of 2 days. It was on all night, all day, so you could watch the whole thing. So here the audience is cheering on Q during the scratching contest, and Queen Latifah announces the winner is GQ, and then sitting there with her is Ed Lover and Dr. Dre from Yo MTV Raps. There's that same guy earlier, that Rui Hachimura looking dude. I don't know. But yeah, GQ advances to the next round. And then, of course, they're going to use in between rounds to go rob the liquor store or the bodega. Which is good writing because we know as an audience, we want Q to stay here so he doesn't get in trouble and he wins the DJing contest because that's more important for his future as a musician than some stupid, couple $100 lick from robbing the bodega down the street. But I think these other dudes, Raheem and Bishop especially, have it in their head that like that will elevate their crew to have more respect on the street, and then maybe they can start doing whatever, selling stuff and other things. But Sloppy Hand Hearts, Summer of Love. That's cool. Russell would have loved being around back in that time. Zombie and Cooper Rock. Yeah, I saw that they were going to be out together this summer. School's out forever. It is. I agree. Yeah, I like the way they balance this, where they show they're all at the crowded DJ competition, and everybody's packed and cheering and loud, and then it goes to complete silence when they're planning this robbery. And they know that the police circle by every 8 minutes or whatever. So as soon as the cop passes by, they've got like their 8-minute window to go rob the place. So now there's ticking clock and there's like a pressure to the scene, a turned up intensity. The stuff I was bitching about that wasn't in Above the Rim. Like, where's the counting clock? And this is dumb because they didn't even need Q to be there. He's just there to watch the door. Like basically, Raheem takes the money and Bishop points the gun, or Tupac points the gun at the dude, and the rest of them are just sort of there. So there, and then Bishop Tupac shoots Old Man Quillis in the head for no reason. Like he was totally there. He never made a move or nothing. And then here the cops go by again, and they have to like be still. So it's this moment of tension. This is all good writing and stuff. And we see him running away all fast, and then when dude's like, "Give me the gun back," and he won't. And that's when the scary part of the story kicks in, because it's like now we know there's a dude who will kill someone in cold blood in our crew, and he kind of becomes like the Mr. Blonde character in Reservoir Dogs. It's like, oh no, there's a lunatic amongst us. You're venomous poison. I think she's quoting Alice Cooper's lyrics, but she might just be saying it to me, because it's kind of an accurate point. But either way, thank you, Lamonia. You old flatterer, you. I survived the Alice Cooper riot in Toronto. News footage on YouTube. Cops on horses and full riot gear. Wow, that's kind of cool. I mean, it's never cool to be in a riot. I was in one once. It's on my YouTube page. If you go to my page, I scroll down a couple of playlists. There's a link to a Don Nichols YouTube page. And on there, my hometown had a riot. I walked through and watched car lots be set on fire and restaurants burned to the ground and stuff. It's basically this, except me in a riot. So now when Raheem tries to take away a gun from Bishop, Bishop shoots him in the chest. So Bishop is full on crazy at this point, and we're worried, like, who knows what he might do. And after he kills Bishop, he steals the cash out of his pocket. And they all run away. But I love this kind of haunting. Raheem does the jump scare, and he grabs Tupac's forearm as he's dying, and like it's like a jump scare moment in a horror movie. But it's a reverse, because Tupac has like this, you can tell there's a little bit of empathy still within him. So when his friend who he's just murdered reaches out to him, he's kind of half terrified. Like, I wish you would just die, like disappear. I'm scared. And even now, Tupac's acting is amazing. He runs into this back room and hides behind a wall, and his face is just like full of terror and fright, even though a minute ago he's a murderer. Like, you can see how he gets a bunch of movie roles after this. He's just killing it. And Steele is crying, and Omar Epps is like just scared of Tupac. You can just see he's afraid in his eyes. He knows dude's a murderer. And Pac starts breaking up the money, his split of the bodega robbery. Yeah, this is awesome. Wow, now Pac's got the gun in Q's face. This all feels just real. Like, for a movie like this that's real easy to come off as false or overacted or heavy-handed, this all feels real. Like it, where Steele's crying and then Tupac starts yelling at him and makes him stop crying, and he points the gun at him and gives him a hug, and like all of it. It's just kind of an amazing scene for three dudes. What point are we at? I said it would be at there is 42 minutes left, which means, the robbery happened at roughly the 45-minute mark. I called it. A lot of times you fix, when you write a movie, there's 1 minute per screen time. So if you're going to make a 90-minute movie, it's 90 pages. A 2-hour movie is 120 pages. So there's all this math that goes into it when you're writing. And like I say, so like a 2-hour movie, you're going to have a half-hour first act and a half-hour third act and a 1-hour second act. And around the 1-hour mark, there will be some sort of change in plot, a plot twist, as it's called. So when you write it, it's easy to get it written and have the plot twist happen on page 120, page 60. And, have the first act end at page 30 and stuff. But then when you shoot it, it's going to go longer or shorter. And that's why directors want you to say your lines fast in this scene. Okay, now say it again and take your time, because there's no telling which cut you're going to need in editing to make everything fit together in this like time puzzle that you're building. One of the most amazing movies I've ever seen at following the time structure is The Sixth Sense. It's like a 2-hour movie, and at like the end of the half hour, we've met Bruce Willis and the little boy, and we understand the plot, and they fade to black, and then like it all just keeps falling on exact minute marks. Like the train is never late. And as I pointed out in this, it's an hour and a half, and the damn 45-minute mark is where the plot shift comes. So there's your nerdy story structure report. Let's see here. Russell says he's back, the man behind the mask. He loves him some Alice Cooper. I do too. Sounds violent. Yeah, let me know in the chat or in the chat in the comments if you're watching this later on in the replay. If you've seen Juice before. Yeah, here's the shot I was talking about. That's like very Spike Lee derived. Q must have some sort of rig on that's got the camera pointed at his face. So as he's in the center of the shot, everywhere he moves, the people around him just sort of like, I don't know, kind of blend behind and move around in a weird way. It feels like isolated. Spike Lee uses this shot a lot, except he does it with a dolly. And we just see he's completely out of it because his best friend just got murdered and his other best friend is a damn murderer. Oh, that's right. I forgot about this nerdy dude he DJs against. The other guy in the competition at one point gets so mad at him, he flips him off. So stupid. The old gangsters invented drive-by shootings with Tommy guns. Yeah, exactly. Because you got to get in and kill somebody and get out quick. And somehow the police have already figured out Q is one of the suspects. And they don't even let him DJ. Yeah, this all part's good too, where the police come and they arrest him and the detectives take him in and they interrogate him. And like the one white cop with the mustache is all kind of nerdy. And he's like, yeah, you've been hooking up with some girls. Awesome. Like, once again, all this is shot in like real crazy camera angles, like overly pushed in on the close-ups because it's supposed to feel claustrophobic and like surreal and freaked out and tense. It's a well-made movie. So here's the part where Tupac tells the guy, he's like, yeah, I was at the club clocking the hose. And then the one white cop's like, clocking the hose? Let's see here. Mr. Bones says Tommy Gunn is a punk. Tommy Gunn. That's a Rocky V joke for those of you who don't know. Tommy Gunn. I haven't seen Rocky V in so long. It's a miracle I even remember that. Here's a hot take. Rocky V is my fave. I like the street fighting in the story. Mr. Bones, how dare you with this hot take? I will not have that. Everyone knows it goes Rocky IV or Rocky III, then Rocky II, Rocky I, and then Rocky II, and then Rocky Balboa, and then Rocky V. I said it. Yeah, the Rocky V, the only bummer to me is that he loses all his money and he's poor again and he has to move back into his old house. And it's like, we're just right back at the beginning. Like we worked our way back around to the start of the whole thing. Except he's got brain damage, so he's kind of slow and it's weird. I don't know. I have issues with Rocky V. But I remember the dude that played the Don King guy did a good job in it. Russell cracks up at Bones. Sue me for what? So now the cops are interrogating Tupac. Tupac is like cool all day. Like he's just not even unfazed, like totally unfazed by the cops. And he's kind of laughing at them. Meanwhile, Steele, they're like roughing up and bullying and he's crying. And then GQ is just trying to like play the role. Just, you know, not snitch on Tupac, go with their whole story that maybe Quillis's or Radamez's gang did it. And now I think, what is it? I have him on mute, but I think maybe they're playing It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday, maybe. But yeah, now that we're at oh, they're playing Amazing Grace. Um, so now we're at Raheem's funeral, and this is good because I've been to black funerals before, and it is like people eat. Like white funerals are often very just boring and quiet. Maybe everybody has like coffee and cake or whatever, or like some cookies. But black wedding is our black funeral. These dudes got lasagna, chicken, cornbread. That lady there's got like some sort of turkey with gravy. GQ's got our Steele's got a suit on, like somebody killed a couch to make it. He looks like the curtains from Arsenio Hall's set. Touch me and I'll sue you. Knocks him out. Sue me for what? Bones is doing a perfect spot-on Sylvester Stallone impersonation in the chat. Come to a Greek funeral. We stay eating. Next Greek person I know who dies, I'm in, Lamonia. Or if you know someone who dies, you come get me. Okay, I will eat. Because I feel like you should eat at first, and everybody should just kind of be stuffing their face and having a good time, and well, not having a good time at a funeral, but I mean trying to try to at least be sociable and pacify themselves with the food, and keep themselves psychologically busy. Man, my mouth quit working. But then then later at night just get drunk as hell. So now here, of course, Raheem's sister has to come cry on Q's shoulder, and he has to hold his secret in. We know that he knows who the real murderer is. And of course, here's crazy ass Bishop, Roland. That's so funny. Like the whole movie we've been calling him Bishop, and then his sister's like, "Oh, Roland, I'm so glad you're here." Who's this Roland character? Oh, Bishop, yeah. Let's see where we're at with the chat. I love the dead before they're cold. They're blurring flesh for me to hold. Cadaver upon eyes been seen nothing. I hate funerals. The priest talks and talks. Echoes. I didn't even know you were even still here. Echo, thank you. Yeah, I don't like funerals either. The eulogies are kind of uncomfortable, but like as I was explained to a long time ago, like the funerals aren't for the people who are dead; they're for the other living people. So you go to show support, and everybody can kind of grieve together and not feel like they're alone. Some folks, after someone important to them passes, they feel lonely. So to have this gathering of people who telling you how much they love you and how much they feel your pain and stuff, it helps. But in general, yeah, for someone as goth as I am, I don't enjoy funerals. I enjoy a good cemetery. Now, a cemetery's on hit, but yeah, a funeral, no, I'm cool. Echo, and there it closes out. And Echo goes out, not in. No, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. So there we see, that's an awesome scene too. We cut from the funeral to see that GQ's got this little janky boombox, a little Panasonic twin cassette player with a gold ribbon on it that says second place DJ contest. So we know that instead of winning the big grand prize and being on Yo MTV Raps, he got some little janky like Panasonic twin cassette player. And then he gives it to his little brother, who's like the cutest kid on earth. He's a good child actor. He should have been in more stuff. I like Bishop. He's cool. Which is funny because like your little kid brother would think the evil murderer guy is cool. I like the murderer guy. He's cool. What do you know, you little punk? And there's the part where the little kid says, "Fucker, you hurt my arm." What I tell you about using bad language, man? And he's roughing him up. And this is all cute. We can see GQ's a likable guy. He's a good older brother. It's good character building. It makes us want to make sure we're rooting for him. I like Bishop. Why? He's cool. Well, tell Mr. Cool Man if he comes by, I ain't here. So he's like, well, what's in it for me? And he's like, you get to keep your teeth. And he's like, I'm losing my teeth anyways. Yeah, the adorable little brother scene. Gosh bless him. Funerals are nasty things. They can be fun with enough liquor. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. You go and first you eat, and then everybody just kind of has the, oh, I'm glad to see you, and all the kids are getting big, and all the stuff you say to people you never see. And then, what are you in high school now? Oh, are you playing basketball? Oh, okay, yeah. But then later on, after everybody's eaten and you've cleaned up and stuff, then yeah, just get drunk as hell. Howl at the moon together. Our funeral will be a blast. I'll send a video message. And now a word from Don. So this is a funny ass part. GQ's gone back to school for like the first time in ever, and he's trying to remember his locker combination, and he keeps forgetting it. So then some nerdy dude walks by and kind of is watching him fight with his locker, and he's like, been that long, huh? And then dude's like, what'd you say, punk? But this is the classic scene I was talking about. They use this in all the trailers and the clips, and like anytime they talk about Juice, this is the scene they use, where he reaches into his locker and pulls out some books and blows the dust off them because he just doesn't go to school. And he closes the locker door, and there's Bishop on a jump scare. It's like perfect. There's no way in real life you'd be able to hide behind a locker door, but the way they framed it and the way they held the camera, just like it kind of drifted right, so we would have just enough room blocked out. But yeah, when he closes his locker door, there's Tupac's scary ass face waiting on him. But this is all good acting. They're well shot. Everything's, the close-ups are like perfect, right in between the eyebrows and the chin, and like you can see they cut from right to left, right to left, right to left. It's just a well-made movie. Let's get some background info on this. Juice was directed by Ernest Dickerson, and it was written by Ernest Dickerson and Gerard Brown. Ernest Dickerson also did, I've seen this dude before. They interview him on like stuff for Black History Month. He's like a heavy-set black dude with cornrows that he pulls back in a ponytail. He was the cinematographer for Malcolm X. There you go. He was the cinematographer for Do the Right Thing. He's a director of 11 episodes of The Walking Dead. He's a director of the DMZ show, director in episodes of House of Cards, episodes of The Purge. He directed, man, he's got a big old long IMDb. He did Surviving the Game, the Ice-T and Rutger Hauer. He did Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. He did Bulletproof, the Adam Sandler, Damon Wayans movie. He did Future Sport, Night Visions. He directed Bones, the Snoop Dogg horror movie, Jimmy Bones. He directed Monday Night Mayhem. That's interesting. My friend, that's a movie about Howard Cosell, and one of my friends is Howard Cosell's grandson, and I was thinking about trying to have him come on and do an episode of that with me. That's interesting. He did Never Die Alone. He did The L Word, Criminal Minds, a whole bunch of TV. He did an episode of Masters of Horror. I didn't realize he was a master of horror just because he directed Bones. That's a bit much. Last Man Standing. He did some episodes of Dexter. Yeah, mostly just TV towards the end of his career, but 74 directing credits. Are you kidding me? Sheesh. That's a lot. That's a lot. Russell says, our funerals are bleak. I always forgot my locker combination at the end of the year was funny as hell when I opened everything and it was covered in layers of dust. That's him. So now here he's fighting with his nurse girlfriend, and she's beating his ass with a pillow, and she's like, if you can't respect me in my house, then get out. And he's like laying around reading the newspaper, even though he's like 16 or whatever. Yeah, I think that's the only part of this movie that feels wrong. Now here's where Radamez comes and attacks, and Tretch and them come and attack Pac alone. And then it's a callback to the beginning of the movie where he's on his own and he sees Steele and Q start coming up. So he starts acting tough the same way he did at the beginning scene when Raheem and them walked up. Except this time Q and Steele peel off and they don't help him and he's on his own. And that's kind of like another like fracture in their relationship that leads to the big like climax at the end here. Michael Myers is here. Tupac was in some awesome movies, Gridlocked, Bullet, and Gang Related. Not sure which of these there was actually officially his last one. Supposedly Gang Related is his last IMDb credit. But like I said, those direct-to-video or later Tupac movies with less publicity. I think they might have been in theaters, but for short times. They weren't big theatrical releases the way like this or Poetic Justice was. And anyways, welcome, Michael Myers. Nice to have you here, buddy. Weddings, asking how you've been. Yes, but not at funerals. Yeah. Well, that's the thing with funerals is folks show up who you haven't seen in a long time. So it's this awkward thing of like, hey, I'm happy to see this person I haven't seen in years. But at the same time, it's a crappy situation for them to be here. Ernest Dickerson did Surviving the Game. There you go. Yeah, see, 187 on YouTube. We'll watch later. Russell's always finding good stuff on YouTube. So now here, Radamez and Tretch and them are getting ready to rough up Bishop. And he puts the damn knife up his nose, same as in Chinatown. Except in Chinatown, Jack Nicholson gets his nose snipped. And he even says, you ever see Chinatown, motherfucker? And he keeps pushing the nose up against him. And then Pac says, no, I must have missed that. And starts knocking everybody out. And then this is where he reaches into his gun and pulls out the pistol. And, oh, that's right. The cops come and break it up before he pulls out the pistol. You think he saw us? Yeah. What do you think he's going to do? Oh, no. Oh, here's where he's, Riverside, motherfucker. Yeah, he runs up on Radamez and shoots him twice in the chest and yells, Riverside, motherfucker. He's talking about back in that James Cagney movie. But yeah, people used to always say that whenever like you'd have to do something extra harsh on somebody, you know, make a mic drop crack on them or say something extra mean or smack somebody in the head or whatever, you know, Riverside, motherfucker. And now here's where GQ goes and sees old boy and gets a pistol. Is this Samuel L? Yeah, here it is. I'm here to see Sweets. It's this woman. And this part's actually really good. This is the type of thing that they don't put in crime movies, but is incredibly real. He goes to see someone who's kind of, you know, crime affiliated, maybe higher up on the crime totem pole because he needs to get a gun. So he goes to this bar that's like a speakeasy and you got to knock on the door and ask to get in. And he goes to see Sweets, and Sweets like this older woman and like, I don't know, she's probably in her 60s maybe. And dude's like, I need to buy a gun. Or he says, I need some protection. And she's like, well, go buy some rubbers. And then she goes and gets a gun. And he's like, I only got $25. And she's like, you can't even get a slingshot for $25. But then she's like, I'm trying to remember what her mom's name is. She's like, aren't you so-and-so's boy? Lorraine Powell's son. Aren't you Lorraine Powell's son? Yeah. She's like, tell your mother Cheryl says hi. Or Jackie says hi. There you go. Like she looks out for a kid she knew as a baby. And that's like some stuff that would really happen. Like I didn't have any money. I needed a gun. It just turned out the person who had a gun was someone who wanted to make sure I didn't die. And here they're cutting back to Tupac melting down. He's in a bar smacking glasses, and you can see the tension in him is escalating. This is just a well-written, well-directed movie. Every shot's well composed right here. Just him knocking on a door is like a nice split screen shot. It looks great. Let's see here. Michael Myers says 187 is Sam Jackson's best performance. Yep. We were trying to remember. I was trying to remember 187 earlier. We were talking about sort of troubled schools movies. And we were talking about how 187 and Method Man and all that. Video Tasties. Good morning, Gareth. Drink when we mention Video Tasties. Gareth, are you familiar with Juice or Above the Rim? You're allowed to like or not like them. It's okay. I stepped outside earlier to get something out of my car. When I was coming back in, there were two people out having a cigarette. And I asked them, I was like, you guys ever seen Juice and Above the Rim? And the two people outside having cigarettes both saw Juice and Above the Rim, and they both liked it. So right now, this is 3+ votes for this movie. So we're doing good. Although Mr. Bones, he liked the other Tupac movies. In my opinion, these are the two best. Wasn't supposed to be a menace to society, but something awkward got in the way. Yeah, I believe Tupac was originally a menace to society. He was the Taye Diggs role, I think. Or no, not Taye Diggs. Oh God, what's dude's name? The guy that, not the main character, the guy that shoots the Korean liquor store owner. I'm drawing a blank on what that guy's name was. He was in a bunch of stuff for a while. Lorenzo Tate? Is that his name? Lorenzen Tate, maybe, I think. He ended up being in instead because I think Tupac got in a fight with the Hughes brothers or one of the Hughes brothers. And I think Tupac actually was living the gimmick at that point, and he was extra wild. He was getting arrested like every other weekend. If anybody had a Deadpool, Tupac was on it. And at that point, yeah, he got in a fight with the Hughes brothers. And I think that's kind of what made his career go downhill and why the back half of his career has movies that are lesser known, because he kind of got blackballed after beating up that director. Great Factual Mobile movie, Gotti, 1996 with Armand Asante. Yeah, I've seen that one. Actually, I have the DVD of that one. It's in my mobster section. Yeah, I remember. I believe that was maybe a made for HBO movie. I don't know. It's been a minute since I've seen it, but yeah, I do remember the Armand Asante Gotti movie. Hi, Michael. Morning, Yo Echo. Everybody's saying hello to Gareth. He's a hero to the name. Gareth has never seen Juice or Above the Rim. Yeah, I was curious if these would make it over there. Above the Rim, I doubt would make it to England, or at least across the pond. But Juice probably would. Juice is decent. I bet it has a different name over there or something. But a lot of Juice feels the way Attack the Block and some of those films feel. Like a lot of times British movies have the way they show their tenements and stuff feels like the way New York is. And that's kind of how this is. Their housing apartment complexes feel the way this movie feels. But yeah, I would recommend Juice to you, Garrett. You probably wouldn't dig Above the Rim. So you got here at the right time. Not my tempo. Never seen a Tupac film or heard his music. Yeah, Tupac is an acquired taste. I was curious how much of that would even make it over there. In this, yeah, here's where he gets Steel alone and shoots him. This is more of it's a gangster movie, but it's more like a thriller where these kids commit these crimes, commit a crime together, and then one of them starts killing off the others. So it's kind of a haunting thriller. You feel the tension of someone coming for you. And yeah, here's Samuel L. Jackson. I believe this might have been Samuel L. Jackson's first movie. Let's find out. Actually, I bet he was in Spike Lee stuff before this. But I believe this is back when he rarely got low credits. Let's see here. Samuel L. Jackson's first role. Geez, let's guess how many he has. Samuel L. Jackson has 206 acting credits. Still not our all-time leader, which is pretty good. I think some of the bigger ones we've seen are closer to 300. So for him to be at 200 is amazing. His first movie was Together for Days in 1972. Wow. He was Trial of Moke. He was in The Exterminator and Extra in 1980. I didn't know that. He was in Uncle Tom's Cabin. He was in Ragtime, Spencer for Hire, School Days. Yeah, so his first movie, big feature, was School Days, and that was in 88. And then Coming to America, 88. That's the one I was thinking of that most people call his first movie. Then Do the Right Thing. Sea of Love, Death by Temptation, Mo Better Blues, The Exorcist 3, Goodfellas, where he plays Stax. Yeah, I forgot about that. The Return of Superfly, Jungle Fever, Strictly Business, Jumping at the Boneyard, and then Juice. So look how many movies he did just in between Coming to America and Juice. That dude works. Man, he's in a lot of stuff. Sheesh. But here, this is the classic. I often point this out. I say that like as I'd probably be like second or third to die, because I'm the person who's like, there's no such thing as monsters, and you guys are all being irrational and crybabies, and I would go outside and get murdered right away. However, I can always fall back on the likable comic relief guy. That's my hope in life. That they might bring me back at the end because the audience in test screenings was mad that I died so early. That's my only hope. And I think that's what happens with Steele here. I think when he kills Steele, the test audiences were like, you can't kill Steele. There's no point in it. But also the fact that he's a bigger dude makes it seem believable that 22 might not kill him. And then, yeah, there they see Q sees Steele getting loaded into the ambulance, just happens to be walking by at the right exact time. And here's the classic movie moment where everyone on the street recognizes the murderer from TV and they all think it's GQ. In real life, you would never get noticed. But this is good to ratchet up the tension. The cops are now looking for Q, and then Bishop's looking for Q, and Q's trying to hide from Bishop, and they both got guns. Let's see here. Love him when he reads "Go to Fuck to Sleep" video on YouTube with Sam. Yeah, I do. I've seen that a couple of times. Have Above the Rim on DVD, but never watched it. I've seen Juice maybe 20 times. Attaboy, Michael Myers. Yeah, Juice is like I say, it's a good urban crime drama, and it's got like a scary thriller thing to it. You know, that scene I pointed out earlier in the high school where the locker door works for a jump scare. You know, all that's really good. Here he goes and visits Samuel L. And he gets like a kind of a, like this scene is sort of useless. He basically just explains to him like Bishop's evil and he's trying to kill me. And Samuel's like, what you want me to do? Word on the street is you killed Raheem and Aquilus and Radames. So he kind of learns why the police are after him. I guess that's the only reason this exposition scene even exists. That and to see Samuel L. in this ridiculous hat. Let's see here. He's never seen him either. Only clips on YouTube. Lorenz Tate. Thank you, Michael Myers. Yeah, did you see that was probably painful to watch me remember that guy's name. But what's his name? O-Dog? Is that his name? I was trying to remember that from Menace to Society. O-Dog. John Travolta's Gotti was bad. Yeah, I never saw that one. I heard it was terrible. And when I saw the clips of him looking all extra facelifted, I wasn't in on it. More about father and son. Tate was great in Menace. Dead Presidents is the other Tate one I was so sure about. Not so sure about The Postman. I forgot he was even in The Postman. Yeah, Dead Presidents and Menace to Society, I think, are his two big. He kind of made that popular where you grow your hair out and then get the braids and then wear the braids almost like pigtails. Like it, you look like you think you would look silly like a little girl, but on some gangster dudes, it looks tough. You know, Snoop Dogg rocks it for like the next 20 years. Let's see here. Need to watch Poetic Justice. I've got it somewhere. Yeah, I only saw it like maybe once or twice. I found it too. It walked a fine line of being like a troubled like teenager in gangland movie like Menace to Society or Boys to Hood, but then it also had like a romance to it. And I thought that was kind of a strange juxtaposition to be like rooting for this couple amidst this like urban chaos kind of thing. And I'm pretty sure he was in Do the Right Thing, which I think was before this. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I knew one of these early movies was limited or credited as his first. Apparently, I was thinking of Coming to America. because he's originally in a bunch of movies where he's not even credited, and then they went back later after he got famous and put him in. Like, he got a credit post fame. So here's a weird scene. The nurse, the older girlfriend nurse, sees that Steele got shot and follows him in the emergency room. But there's been no indication that she would know him. Like, she only hangs out with GQ. Like, we don't ever see her hanging out with Steele and Radamez and them. So it kind of doesn't even make any sense other than for her to find out that Q has been framed, and then I think she maybe helps get him unframed. I don't know how that works. He never managed to spot him in The Exterminator. Yeah, I didn't know he was in The Exterminator. I've only The Exterminator was one I watched a bunch as a kid. It was one of the first like big VHS, because that cover is banging. The cover makes that movie, like, that movie's great, and when you watch it, it's but wow, what an awesome shot. Q is leaning against the wall, kind of looking, and in the dark, Tupac steps out and steps into his key lighting and just appears out of the darkness, and it's kind of amazing. Like, I don't know if I've ever like seen that executed that well before. And then just walks up to Q and puts a pistol in the back of his head. They do a good job of making this smaller pistol look scary, because it's supposed to show like he doesn't need a big, like, dirty, hairy gun. Just a little 22 pointed in someone's eye is all you need to scare the hell out of them. And even the gun he goes and gets from Miss Jackie is like a little, like, Derringer kind of deal. Oh God, yeah, he's in Goodfellas and Exorcist 3 for about 2 seconds. Yeah, he's blind in The Exorcist 3. Exorcist 3 has all sorts of weird cameos. On one of these streams I mentioned, there's a dream sequence with Patrick Ewing and Fabio, and people are like, what? Like, I remember even in the chat, people were like, you got to be kidding me. It's like, Exorcist 3 is a wild ride, brother. Stack shooting and story really happening and getting high with his girlfriend, not getting rid of him. Yeah, the stuff from Goodfellas. Goodfellas scene was a little longer, but fine in the full film. Not getting rid of the truck. Yeah, exactly. That's what I always tell everybody. Like, when people try to have conspiracy theories about how the government is doing this and so-and-so's doing that, I try to explain to people, anytime you have something with more than like 2 people, it's going to get out. Like, you can't commit any major conspiracy, because if there's anybody to write a book or go on a podcast, your little secret's going to come out. Like that, I don't believe in any conspiracy, Someone somewhere will snitch. Wow, this is great. There, Tupac is chasing Q with the gun and shooting at him, but it's all shot in wide shot. So, like, some of the scenes, the little actors are like just tiny, running through these huge brick sets. It looks almost like a Gothic castle. There is 8 minutes and 15 seconds left in this movie. And it is 2:25 a.m. Central Standard Time, so 3:25 Eastern. I thank you for being up with me and watching this extra long 2-pack of Tupac. But for the final Tuesday in Black History Month, I had to. I meant to watch Django Unchained the other night, but I wasn't feeling good. I went to bed early to pull back the curtain on you guys. No one ever watches this late into a stream. Let's see here. Poetic Justice, haven't gotten around to it. As love with Singleton's Boys in the Hood, but I thought Higher Learning was pretty awful. I never liked Higher Learning really either. It was a little too like broad, I guess. Like, they tried to cover too much, like with Christy Swanson getting date raped, and then all the stuff that happens with that, and then the Remy character becoming a skinhead, and just all this stuff. There's too many plot lines in Higher Learning. They need to make that a show. That'd be a good Netflix show. Like, make it 10 episodes or 8 episodes. But in a 2.5 hour movie, it's just too much. Or 2 hour movie, I should say. I like this little subtle bit of business. Dude gets the gun knocked away from him, and then some rando guy at the party just picks the gun up and sticks it in his pocket, and then just tries to act cash. So there's technically like a Juice 2 out there, which is some guy who has a rando gun. But this is kind of fun. He's running from him and he cuts through a party. So it feels like he's trying to hide in public, but they're listening to Cypress Hill. Here's something you can't understand. Oh, I could just kill a man. Hey, white guy with a beard. Shout out to you. That's my guy. And then Bishop gets spotted and he runs out the window and climbs up the fire escape because any movie in New York City has to have a scene on a rooftop. Above the rims, above the rooftop scene was at the beginning when Nutso dies. So, yeah, now here we have to have Q and Bishop up on the roof having this big Blade Runner ending. They all disappear like partners in the rain. But once again, the movie switches tones to like a scary thriller. You know, he's on this roof and it's all black and he's like walking real slow and he knows behind any corner Tupac could pop out. I like the pigeon coop up there. It adds good ambiance. All this is shot in blue light to show that it's nighttime, but it's not day for night, which is good. And then there he crashes into the pigeon coop. This seems like a fair fight. Omar Epps with a bullet wound versus a skinny Tupac. And this is pretty much just a fist fight right now, but we know that it's going to end bad. Tupac just keeps finding random instruments. It's like a Royal Rumble match or something, like a no holds barred hardcore match. That's what I'm looking for. First he had a 2x4 and now he's got a lead pipe. He just keeps finding random weapons up here to hit with. And now we have this dramatic, Roy Batty thing here that Bishop falls off the roof and Q grabs him and then they've been fighting, so they're sweaty and dude's hand just slips out and he just disappears into the darkness. Thud. Really good use of shadow and light at the end of this movie. Like right there, that scene is cut diagonal down the middle with light on the building and then just black underneath. And then the famous line after he walks back from letting Tupac die. And then just this random guy who hasn't been in this movie at all for no reason lets him know, you got the juice now, bro. Oh, this is the guy from earlier. That's right. You got the juice now, man. That's the guy from earlier. Samuel L. Jackson was our Bishop was talking to. And when GQ was trying to sell him mixtapes so he could help him get laid. And then the movie ends on just a freeze frame of GQ's eyes and we push in slow while the credits come up. This feels like total 1970s schlock. But they then end it with the dudes all together laughing and walking. It's like kind of this sweet Stand By Me moment. And we go to credits. Nice. So if you like this, you might also like Hustle and Flow, The 5 Heartbeats, the Welcome Home Roscoe Jenkins, Martin, the TV show, Booty Call, The Wayans TV show, American Gangster, Barbershop 2, Barbershop 1, Head of State, Love and Basketball. There you go. Just Right. Oh, that's right. Queen Latifah and Common. Lean on Me, Malcolm X, The Brothers. I never saw The Brothers. It was Morris Chestnut. White Men Can't Jump, The Fresh Prince TV show. Are we done yet? That's a fine question to ask, Ice Cube. Are we done yet indeed? Well, anyways, I am done here. I've finished 2 movies in 3 hours. I started at right before 11 p.m. and it's now 2:30 a.m. I thought I would be done about 3:15, but apparently things went faster than I thought they would be. So that's pretty good, guys. I'm impressed. The ending of Casino. The brothers were killed with bats somewhere else and then buried in a cornfield. Love the elevator scene. Don't know if it's happened yet. Yeah, we're just wrapping her up. Yeah, what the fuck is Fabio doing in an Exorcist movie? Exactly. But I guess that's how dreams work. You know, you. I dreamt I was in a mental home, and Fabio and Patrick Ewing were there. Ex-mob boss Michael Franzese for Columbo fam and has a great YouTube channel about the real mob breaks down. Yeah, I subscribe to that, where he watches scenes from mob movies and explains whether it's real or not. I was kind of doing that earlier with Above the Rim when I was explaining how it's one of the realest basketball movies ever made. Like it feels well shot and well made. Higher Learning gets worse as it goes along. There's a fight scene when for some reason shot really goofy. Yeah, just too much in that stew for Higher Learning. I think they were trying to get too much. Like I said, if they made it an 8-episode Netflix show and you could like maybe tell a story per episode and then have that big mass shooting at the end, like in episode 8 or whatever. Knows where Hoffa is, and he said he's wet. So was Lamonia. Snitch, I saw Grass. I'm a sucker for a freeze frame ending. I know, like in the 70s, they did that all the time where they would just like have somebody, the screen freeze, and we were supposed to have like this resonant, like this impactful scene of look at their face. Sam was great in Fresh, an amazing movie. So I do remember him in Fresh. Yeah, that's another one of those 90s gangster movies. We were talking about some of them earlier. Crooklyn and Strapped, and Strapped feels like the predecessor to The Wire. Like if you've ever seen The Strapped, it feels a lot like that. Let's see here. Cool down. So I thank all of you for joining me tonight. This was a fun episode. A true departure from stuff I do usually. Usually we're on the horror tip or the crazy sci-fi weirdo mind F movies, but I kind of wanted to do this while I'm doing my comfort food film section here, because both of these movies are ones I've seen so many times. They just feel like, you know, they don't feel as much of like a brother as they do a cousin, you know, an old friend who I recognize and I haven't seen in a while, but I remember them. And I don't think I'll be doing any more Tupac movies unless we have a Janet Jackson episode or something. But I thank you for joining me and hanging out. And Lamonia is laughing about the whole wet comment. I knew she was there. Thank you for catching my joke, Lamonia. It would have been wasted if you weren't there. But I thank you for joining me. I appreciate sitting here. For those of you who are watching the replay and are sitting through 3 hours of Tupac movie, I appreciate you. For those of you who popped in the chat, Lamonia, our friend here, as well as Mr. Bones and Cinephile, Sanity, Sean, and Mayanne, Echo Zero. Hey, Brittany Rose dropped in. Thank you for dropping in, Brittany. Nice to see you. We're just getting ready to wrap up, so it was nice for you to pop your head in and before we took off. Him and Chaz from the Bronx Tale have a channel too. Oh, I didn't know that. Chaz Palminteri has a channel. Yeah, Michael Myers was here. Also earlier, Gareth popped in, and Russell's been a fun friend, the whole chat. I appreciate you. And Russell also ran over to Mr. Bones' chat and corralled some people for our chat. So he's a hero. Thank you, Russell. They're a hero. Mikey's Morgue, I forgot, was here. He had to get back to work, but he is awesome that he dropped by. Oh, also Jeremy, my friend Curly, who's a really good basketball player. He was here earlier when I was watching Above the Rim. So that was a fun cameo. I'm lucky when my friends from my real life sometimes poke in and watch these movies with us. They always point out how cool the chat is and what a nice community I have here. So I thank the people in the chat for always being so warm and welcoming, and friends that are easy to be proud of. I appreciate you guys a lot. And that being said, I think we'll wrap it up here. Michael Myers says, great stream. Take it easy, guys. Thank you, Michael. We appreciate you, buddy. It's nice having you here. And I appreciate all of you for watching and for hanging out and for joining me for the last Tuesday in Black History Month for Two-Pack of Tupac. And more than anything, I guess I wish you green grass and high tides forever. You have a good night.